Evening, people. Hope everything's good for everyone. Oh, same Spurs, different day. We all know the story. We've all gone on about it. Random show, I know, as usual. But didn't really have anything else to do tonight. So I thought I'd just come on and do a show. I mean, one thing I would like, and I've put the link up there, is for anyone to jump on if they want to. I just hear a hell of a lot in the chat, but hardly anyone ever wants to come on and actually put their word across. And me personally, I just don't get it. I mean, because talking in the chat can be awkward, to say the least. I mean, sometimes you can't get your point across. You can't say it how you want to see it. But come on and make your point. I mean, we've got some tricky games next, without a doubt. And Wolves away. Should we be worried about those games? I don't think so. But we definitely are. We've managed to get ourselves into this position where we look at teams like Southampton, we look at teams like Palace, and they're doing well, by the way, same as Bournemouth and others. And we're looking at them and saying we should be winning this. And I think this is one thing I do find a bit frustrating. We should be winning this. what's happened when we was actually good at one point and looking at it and saying we will win this and being quite sure of it. That is how far back I think things have taken us, to the point that we literally are just not confident, even against playing the smaller teams. And I think that just about says it all. With the manager, with the club, with some of the players, with everything. The confidence is not there. Yeah, some people are still confident, of course they are, but you can't just live on hope. Some people like to. I don't. But hope can get you hurt. But there's nothing wrong with having a bit of hope. I mean, with Wolves being the next game, and we're playing them away, they don't look like they're doing too bad at the moment, and we definitely don't look like we're doing too good. I mean, I think the manager's done a very good job on getting them out of the relegation issue, because at one stage they looked like they was in a bit of trouble. I think this whole season so far, the thing that just about sums it up totally is the fact that there are just 3 teams in that league that are just not good enough for that league. And that, in a lot of ways, I think is what saved our ass, personally. Again, it's just personal opinion. And after that, we got that Frankfurt game away. I've actually heard a couple of people say we had a really good game and we should be going there with the advantage because they won't play the same way and we are the better team. It definitely didn't look like that last night, not to me anyway. I mean, for me, it was pretty much a bang average game. Some people loved the game, each their own. But we just did not take our chances when we had them. But then neither did Eintracht Frankfurt. They didn't exactly take their chances when they had them either. That game for me could have gone 3-1 either side, could have been 3-3 at the end of it, and it could have gone the very wrong way. But a draw is a draw. We're still in this. You can still look on that on the positive side. We are still in this game. Will we win the Europa Cup? I don't think so. A lot of people don't think so. But we're still in it. So we can only take it from there. And then when we got a couple of other games coming up, Forest, and we're at home, that is not going to be an easy club. The way they have played this year, I mean, for me, Nuno, I don't know what other people think, but for me, I personally think he deserves to get Manager of the Year, basically. What he has done with Forest is actually quite shocking. I mean, in a lot of ways, I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, who would have thought Forest getting into 3rd place and looking serious on getting in the Champions League? I honestly don't know what to say to it. I am impressed. I won't deny it. Nuno has impressed me. Forest, I think, for me, have been the most impressive team in the season because just nobody expected them to get there. They're drilled. They've got a game plan. They know what they want to do. Every player on their pitch knows what they're meant to do. Yeah, we all make a couple of mistakes, but they know what they're doing. They've got a game plan. When do we ever look like we have a plan? When do we ever look like, right, we've done our homework. We know how to play against this team. Right, we have to adapt a little bit. I mean, I'm sick of using the word, and I think a few other people are. We have to adapt a bit. But we don't. And everyone can see it. And that is why we just keep conceding the same goals. And that is why a few people coming on YouTube and a few people watching the chats and whatever must pretty much get sick of hearing the word adapt, the phrase inverted wingbacks. But that is what the problem is. That is what one of the main problems is. And that is how we seem to get caught every game. I mean, the only way Porro saved his arse last night is the way he scored the goal. Because the other goal was pretty much on him. The way he put the player onto his good foot and the way he basically played him on. The man can't defend. And I think we all know that now. And then we've got a great game with Liverpool away. When do we ever go to Liverpool and get a result? I mean, we're nearly as bad at Liverpool as we are at Chelsea, if not even worse. And Liverpool have they've won this league for me. If Liverpool go and screw this up, this has got to be the biggest screw up ever in football. Ever. I just can't, but I just don't see it happening. It's Liverpool's for the taking, and we're away to Liverpool. That is just going to be a game where a hard game don't even come into it. It's just going to be a game where I just don't have no faith in that game. And then West Ham away. West Ham's never really an easy game. Yeah, we've done them quite clearly this year. But it's never an easy game. It's a London derby. And West Ham usually turn up when it comes against us because they want that win more than we do to an extent. It's their club. They do not like us and they would love to destroy anything. Not that there's much to destroy at Spurs. I mean, whether we're going to finish 12th or 17th, either way, it's pretty much irrelevant to me, that one. And then we have Palace at home. And look how good they've been lately. And then Villa away. I mean, out of all those games, how many points can we really get out of these games? I mean, Wolves, I think we can get a draw. Forest, I don't see us winning. Liverpool, that goes without saying. West Ham, I think we can do them. Palace, I think we get a draw. Villa, unless they have a very poor game like we've done them earlier in the season, I don't see us getting that. So out of these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, I see us getting about 4 points. And surely that's just not good enough. We need better than that. And this is why we keep repeating it. This manager has got to go. And the only way he's going to save his ass is winning that Europa Cup. So I'll say hello to a few people. I've put a link on here. If someone wants to jump on, no, I haven't got many people on here because I do my shows too random. But come on, say your point. I see so many people always talking on the side. Some people being very, very loud with their opinions. But when they get the offer to come onto the screen, they never do it. Or hardly ever. Some people do. But I would say a majority, they just do not do it. I mean, why not? Why not come on the screen? Why not come on here and get your point across face to face? Debate your point, talk your point, whatever bloody word you want to use. But I just notice a lot of people just refuse to do it. And Tony, big up, man. Guess in the chat. Wolves Spurs. Wolves 2-1 over Spurs. Ange out. That wouldn't surprise me at all, mate, in the slightest. It really wouldn't. I don't think any result really surprises me at the moment. That happens with Spurs. Is anyone ever surprised when all of a sudden we get a beating? Even if Southampton would have gone and done us, I think a few people would have raised an eyebrow like, yeah, we should be beating them. But that's the difference between should and will. I think we are at that point where just nothing would surprise us when it comes to a result. I could definitely see it going that way. But I think we've got what it takes to at least get a draw against Wolves. I mean, Kavinsky, Nightglow, Maddison reaches 20 goal assists last night, and Bergville gets all the flowers. You know what, mate? That's a point I've been making for a little while. Maddison does seem to take a hell of a lot of stick. And for me, it comes down to the same as a lot of players. We just don't play in the right way. When is a number 10 meant to be sitting as a number 10 and having a man 6 foot left, 6 foot right, a striker coming back on him, and 2 centre mids coming up on him, and then also 2 inverted wing backs coming in from the side? What is he actually meant to do on this pitch? What can he do? What does a playmaker do? A playmaker looks to play the game, basically, to get us that good pass, to get us that good cross, to get someone who's running into the box. But he's basically sitting in a circle. He's basically compacted in. What can he really do most of the time? Except give a little 6-yard pass to the man next to him in front of him. He's even at the point where he has to come back to his own half or even back down to our penalty area before he's seeing the ball. And then Ange last night, he takes Maddison off. Why? I don't understand it. If someone else understands it, please do tell me. I just don't understand the point on why we keep taking Maddison off. He is our player. He is our playmaker, and he's the best one at it. The only other one we've got close to him, I would say, in any which way, is Kulusevski. And Kulusevski is nowhere near as creative as Maddison. But we take him off, or we don't play him nearly every bloody game. And I can't work it out why. Is it something personal between them two? Surely it must be. Because every time Maddis comes off, my man looks pissed. I mean, Son coming off, he deserved to come off. Yes, that he's terrible, and he has been for a while. But they both sit there, and you can see them both sitting there, not looking impressed. We've even seen Maddison mouth the words, basically, same thing every game. Which for me says a lot when you've got a player sitting there saying that. Same thing every bloody game. I mean, with Bergvall, I think he's been playing all right for us. And I honestly do think he's justified his place in that first team. But the issue I was having with him was I see a lot of work off him. I see him getting back in the middle. I think he's one of our only players who actually has the bottle to take the man on and try to. Whether he succeeds or not, different story, but he tries. He tries to do it. But the problem I had is I never saw anything at the end of it. Not a decent pass, not a decent cross in there, not even a shot on goal. But last night, he got some passes in. He got some direct balls through. He even had a shot on goal. And that's what I want to see off him. Because all the running about and looking yourself busy in a game, if at the end of it you can't put that pass in it, or you can't have that shot on goal, it makes it pretty irrelevant to me. Because it just looks like another player just running around. And then when it comes to the crunch, doing fuck all. But Bergvall, for me, you can definitely see there's potential there. And I do think if we get a new manager in there and coach him properly, I mean, I know you can say this about most of the team, but coach him properly, I definitely think you're going to see a good player there. Give him a bit more time, I definitely think he's going to adapt as a player. We can all see he's got potential there. But he needs to get coached properly. And that's just going to take its time depending on who our next manager is. So I do agree with you. I think Bergvall gets too much credit and Maddison just seems to get slammed every time. I won't deny it. I think Maddison is a bit of a whiny bitch at times. He does. He likes to go down too easy, and when it's not going his way, he does get very moody, I would say. But he is our playmaker of the team, and we need to play him how he is best to set goals up. But again, we just don't do it. Same as we do with half the players. I mean, Tony, what you're saying there, the mic, if the mic ain't working properly, someone do tell me. I mean, I think I did put it a bit on low. And Jonas C, big up everyone. Ange out, sacking before the second leg. That's not going to happen. We ain't going to see the back of him until the end of the season. I think it's gone that far now. I'm even at the point where is it even worth sacking him now until the end of the season? Because the league is over. I think we all know that. It's done and dusted. People say play for pride. What pride? We're in 14th. I know the players should give it every game, but for me, there's not much pride left to play for. We have to play for that Europa Cup. That is our only chance of getting anything out of this season. Anything at all. So I can understand if with 4 games to go, Ange leaves a couple of players off to play him for the Europa game. But when he done that divvy thing the other week where he left like 7 players out when we had a 20-day difference, that one I just can't work out. But I don't think anyone can work Ange out. Tell the truth, I don't even think Ange can work himself out. So that don't help the system either. But that Europa Cup is the only thing we have a chance in. So for me, that is what we've got to focus on all the way. I mean, last night, a couple of players, I don't think they had the worst games. But they definitely didn't have their best games. I mean, Porro. Oh, just got to put a message in there. I mean, Porro, he didn't have the best games for me. But he saved his ass with that goal. And it was a good goal. Because he got himself in there, he got the shot in, he got the goal, and that definitely covered his ass for the mess up he made. Because that other goal was pretty much down to him. The way he played the player on, we know he can't defend. Why the hell does Ange go and leave Spence out? Now, I'm not bigging up Spence like he's the best wing-back player on the bloody planet. But I think he's the best full-back, wing-back we've got. Defensive side, he's a long way ahead of Porro and the Doji, in my opinion. Going forward, he's good as well. I think Porro's better at going forward, personal opinion. But I don't think you can play Udogie and Porro anymore. It's got to be Spence and Porro. Or Spence and Udogie. You've got to play one or the other with them. We need Spence in that team. We need some sort of defence on one of the wings at least. I think we all know if Spence plays on the right over Porro, the other team is going to counter it in the other aspect of not putting it down the left-hand side or our right-hand side. They're just focused on Udogie's side because they know it's his weak spot as well. But at the moment, same goals every fucking game. Down that left-hand side, catch Porro out. It's easy as. We are one of the easiest and most predictable teams out there. And Tony saying, smash that like, subscribe. Much appreciated, mate. And Anthony Clark, big up, Dan. How you doing? Come on, you gooners. Yeah, apart from the last bit, mate. I'm doing fine. It's been quite an easy day for a change. And like I say, anyone want to come on here and make a point, come and do it. And Tony, Frankfurt had injuries, just saying. Yeah, from what I heard, they had about, what was it, between 5 and 7 of their main players off. So if they get at least half them players back, we could definitely be in a bit of trouble. I mean, that fan base, they had about let's say 4,000, just to round it off. I thought it was around about 5 or 6, but some are saying 3, some are saying 4, some are saying 5. So I'm just going to go with 4 as the random number. 4,000 fans. I think I heard our Spurs fans 3, maybe 4 times. And every time they seem to get a bit loud, the away fans just totally done them, basically. The away fans, they were so much louder than our own fans at our own stadium. Surely that cannot be right. I mean, I get the idea of back the team or whatever, and it's very hard to back a team when you've got no faith in it, no faith in the manager. But when you go down to a Europa game, quarterfinals, surely you've got to be half loud in there. Surely. But the away fans were just that much more powerful than ours. When I went to a game a couple of months back, when I watched Fulham back with my wife, I literally had to sit there and whisper to her while she was sitting next to me. Because if I'd have spoke just normally like this, literally everyone around me would have heard what I'm saying. I've been to games at Borussia Dortmund. Now that is a place where the fans get behind it and get on it. And in Germany, you see that in most places. Munich, when I've been there, is the same. Other countries, Barcelona, been there, pretty much the same. I haven't been to Italy, and that's one thing I do really regret. I would love to go to the San Siro, but they're knocking that down now. But how can 3 or 4 thousand fans rock that whole stadium and be that much louder than our fans? How do we let them do that? I think that just about says it all. There's either no faith in Ange, which we know there isn't much faith in Ange, no faith in the players, or is it just really down to the fact that a high amount of fans in that stadium aren't even Spurs supporters? They're Son supporters. And that's no disrespect to them. Son is their South Korean. He is their top man. He is the man that got them a name in football. They want to go see him play. Okay, I understand that. But it was like, even when I went to the protests, the amount of South Korean people I saw there going, buying stuff for the day out and everything else, I understand that. It's no insult to them. But that stadium has just turned into, I can't think of the right word for it, but that stadium, it's turned into a holiday hotel, basically. Exactly what Levy wanted. It's like he almost wants the home fans out. The majority of them. And the fact that 3 or 4,000 fans took our fans to the cleaners at home, it's embarrassing. It's disheartening even in its own way. But again, there could be many reasons behind it. But I do think one of the main issues is the fact that there's a majority of fans there, a high amount of fans there, that aren't even there for Tottenham. They're there for Son. Or I think you even get some there for Ange. Nowhere near to the fact of what the ones go there for Son. But we just got totally outclassed and outdone when it comes to the fan structure, when it comes to cheering for the club, when it comes to being loud. It's just hard to understand how 3 or 4,000 can outdo of what? If they've got 3 or 4,000, we'd have had 56, 55,000 there. How did they do that? How can we let them do that? It definitely shows there's not much faith in the club, doesn't it? So, Stefan Thomas, big up to you, mate. We've got a chance if we play counter-attacking football. I agree with that one. All the games we've played good in, mate, we've actually played counter-attacking football. Against City, against Villa were the main two. They were the main two. We didn't use this inverted wing-back bullshit. We counter-attacked. We sat back, took the pressure, and then 2 or good 3 direct balls forward, bang, in the back of the net. Man U we done it with as well. If we can all see what the problem is and what the issue is, why can't the manager? Why can't the manager see this stuff? What? That is the bit that I must admit really does get to me. Why can't the bloody manager see it? I personally think if he would just stop pressing so high and stop using both inverted wing backs, which he has slowed down on a bit lately, I'll give him that. I think that's 20% of our problems sorted. I do. I don't think we would have the same sort of problems at the back. It is purely down to tactics. And I don't know what people think on here, but I definitely think he's also lost that dressing room completely now. I don't think the players are interested, most of them. I mean, we got Romero. I think everyone's accepted now that he just don't want to be there, and it shows. So he's got to go. I mean, I've never really classed him as a world class player. I've said he's an extremely good player, and on his day, he looks good, but he's not consistent enough. And when he's at your club, and he just looks as no interest. He doesn't look like he's got no passion in it. It doesn't look like he's that bothered whether we win or lose. Pardon me. Hang on a sec. It doesn't look like he's bothered if we win or lose. He has an odd good game here or there, and then other games he costs us games. Other games he even goes missing. And this is a World Cup winner we're talking about. This is the one that so many Spurs fans sit here and praise him. He's a World Cup winner. He's better than Saliba. He's better than Gabriel. He's up there with Virgil van Dijk and everything else. Wasn't it funny how when Spence gave his review, he didn't even mention Romero. He said the best one. He said the best one was Van der Ven. For me, that says a lot, and I do just blatantly think that Romero just don't want to be here anymore. He's going to be gone at the end of the season. How much can we get for Romero? I think that's a good question. I don't think we're going to get the money that we paid for him. Definitely not. I mean, he's proved himself. He's pretty injury prone. He doesn't want to be at the club. I think we'd be lucky to get 35 million for him, if I'm going to be honest. But again, that's just my opinion. I know there's going to be some sitting here saying that, yeah, he's still worth 50, 60 million, whatever. I don't see how. I don't see how he's justified it to be worth that much. I know Levy won't want to sell him for that, but I don't think Romero's one of these players that will take this crap. I'm still a firm believer of that when Kane got that offer for City or that chance to go for City. Yeah, right, for the first 10 games, he weren't in it until Conte got there. But he should have stated, I'm never stepping foot on the Spurs field again. He'd give us everything, and we cannot complain about that. And maybe, like a lot of players, he just wanted to actually go and win something in his career. Because that's what he gets the most stick for. Being such the great striker that he is, but he has absolutely nothing to show for it on the trophy cabinet. Yes, he's got golden boots, this and that, whatever. But he hasn't won a league, he hasn't won a cup, he has won nothing. So of course he goes to Bayern Munich. He wants to win. But isn't it comical? They've won it like 9, 10 years on the trot, and the season he decides to go there, they don't win it. I mean, for me, I must admit, I found that quite funny. But this year, he's going to get the trophy. He's going to get the league. But Romero's a different story for me. If Levy don't accept the bid for him, a reasonable bid of 35, 45 million, 35, 40 million, I personally think Romero has got enough attitude in him to basically say, well, either you sell me Levy, or I just ain't going to play. Simple as that, really. I think he's got the attitude to do it. I think that's the type of person he is. We don't know him. We can only judge him by what we see on the pitch. But that's the sort of person he comes across as, for me. And if he wants to go, he will go, no matter what Daniel Levy says. Again, it's purely opinion. But I think Romero's done and dusted. He's finished. He does not want to be here, and it shows. And if we, for some strange reason, decide to go and keep Ange, I think there's going to be a few other players that are going to say, I don't want to be here anymore. Maddison definitely being one of them, saying that I don't want to be at this club anymore. I can't deal with this manager. Because out of everyone, Maddison is definitely looking the most pissed off, I would say, after a game. And Custard 123. When does he got to go? Well, sooner the better. But I don't think Ange is going nowhere till the end of the season now. Or unless we get a smashing in the Europa Cup, which I don't think I and Frankfurt are going to come out and beat us 4-0, nothing like that. But until that's done, he's going nowhere. And I think we are in the situation now where there's not many games left in the season. He might as well stay there till the end of the season. If we'd got rid of him in January, however, or December, January, chances are we could have rescued this season. And what I mean by rescued it is at least get us up to 7th place. Something along those lines. But we didn't do it. And that, I think, is definitely where we went wrong. Really, if anyone could give me an opinion here, what would actually be the point of selling him now? What would actually be the point? Selling him, sacking him. What would actually be the point? You might as well now just, the season's done, see how we do in Europa, and then you might as well hang on to him to the end. Because I'm pretty sure from what I've been reading that Levy's already got a plan. And it is starting to look like that Levy's already made his mind up, that this man has got to go. And it looks like our favourite one that we're thinking of going for, what's his bloody name now? I'm terrible remembering names. The Crystal Palace manager. He looks like the one that we are most interested in. And as the type of manager he is, I'd quite accept him at Spurs. But again, this is where I feel we have gone downhill so hard again. It's something I've said over and over again, but I will repeat it. Ange had the easiest job a manager has ever had in football when it came to winning the fans over. Not when it comes to winning anything at Spurs, it's practically impossible. But when he came in, as all he had to do was kick the fucking ball forward. And I'd say about 85% of that fan base just went, yes, thank you. We've got someone who looks like they want to play attacking football. Because the last 4 managers we've had just don't, they're not out and out attacking style football. They're counter-attacking football. That's what they do. But the Spurs fans don't seem to like that one. Ange came on, kicked the ball forward. How many were happy? A lot were happy. But I think we're now at that chance now where we even go and get a mediocre manager in now, but just looks like he can manage a fucking team in when to defend and when to attack. Do a bit of training on defending. Do the training on... I think that's a majority of this fan base won over. And again, that is how low we have actually gone. Yeah, it's all negative, what I'm saying. People can say it's negative, but it's got to be really life as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing wrong with being optimistic or having a bit of hope, but then hope can hurt you. Being too positive can hurt you. If you're too positive about things at times, that's almost being naive. That's almost just you're living on hope, positivity, and you're living on hope. And so many other channels on here, so many other people on here, each their own at the end of the day. There's nothing wrong with it because we're all allowed our own opinions. I'll have anyone on here give me their opinion. If I agree with them or don't agree with them, they are allowed their opinion. And finally, someone wants to pop on here. Savle Meister, I'm going to bring you on now, mate, if you want to come on and say your piece. There you go. How you doing, mate?
Oh, good. How you doing?
Same Spurs, different day for me, mate. But I think it's the same for most people. Can you up your mic a little bit?
I might talk a little bit louder. I don't know how to do that on my laptop. But I was just going to say...
Go on, mate. Say what you want to say. Get to the point you want to get to. Say what you want to say.
The point in sacking him would be we could get a new manager in for next season. Like, we could maybe... I'll be open to getting maybe... like even like a Sean Dyche, because I think he's never had a shot at a big club. He might do all right, because when he was at Everton, he got them just not conceding. Problem was they weren't scoring goals. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I'll make you right with that. I mean, so what sort of manager do you think we need here? I mean, it's something, I know it gets boring for a lot of people just speaking up and up and up. Ange's got to go. He keeps doing this wrong. He keeps doing that wrong. We talk about a game for 5-10 minutes, and then we talk about the same fucking problem that leads to the same fucking goal And then it goes back to the manager because of the same fucking tactics. And then usually, which I just refuse tonight, I don't want to tonight, go to a fucking Daniel Levy conversation. I mean, I could give him a phone call and say, see you next Tuesday or see you next Thursday. But that's just a different kettle of fish. But what sort of manager do you think we need?
I think we just need someone that plays football, just someone like a Pochettino who just plays any kind of football. He might play a bit counter-attacking, might play a bit defensive, might play a bit attacking. Just depends on what's right.
Depending what's right for the game, sort of thing. Adapting to your situation. Like when you know you've got Salah on the left, you go and stick two people on him, not just Ben Davies.
Yeah, probably something like that.
We definitely need someone who's going to adapt to a game. We definitely need someone who you can show they've got some knowledge about football overall. And I think that's one thing you do see about Ange. I just don't think he's just got. I think he's got other issues. I've stated it on other things. I think he's got other issues that are not his fault. I mean, I think he's accepted defeat now with a couple of things he said. And you can definitely say about the man, he don't do himself no favours in any press conference, does he?
I don't even bother watching his press conferences, they're just sort of... There's always some kind of mini clip of him doing something stupid. Like there was that thing about someone's phone going off or something, I think a bit ago.
He don't do himself no favours. I think every manager has to go out there and there's certain things they have to say, yeah? I totally get that. It goes with the job. And then they've got to say certain things to keep people like Daniel Levy happy, whatever else. But how many times has he shot himself in the foot with what might have been a double barrel fucking shotgun and just done himself over like a kipper, where it's then backfired on him? Down to the fact that, okay, he didn't state we will win something in our next season, but he did state I want to be competing next season. And other things he goes and says, it's down to the fans whether they're happy with this or not. And then the fans show that they're blatantly not happy about it. And he starts getting all moody. He starts acting like a bit of a little bitch, if you ask me personally. And he's even starting to fight with the fans, for God's sake. I mean, what does he want out of that? Where's that going to get him? You still on here, mate?
Yeah, just not really sure what else to say.
Well, isn't it a bit stupid that a manager starts arguing with his own bloody fans, especially when they're the away fans, which are the most loyal ones out there because they go to the away games, they go up to Newcastle, they go abroad, they go up to Liverpool, they go up to Man U, they go Chelsea, Arsenal, this, that. They go to all the away games. Isn't that the most stupid one of all of them to start on? Why has he got to start a fight with some of the fans? No, he might not like the. I mean, some of the stuff that got said to him isn't right. I mean, calling him a fat, see you next Tuesday, this and that, and everything else. That's not right. You don't go do that. But when he's blatantly also had fans out there just telling him, Ange, it ain't working, sort it, adapt it, do something. And he gets all moody about it and turns round on the fans. And then the dickhead goes and starts putting his hand to his ear to everybody. And then the comical side was that the goal didn't even count in the end. Why would a manager go doing that?
It's his fatal flaw. Too much. This is the way that we should play football, type thing. We've got to play 10 central midfielders and no defenders, no strikers, no nothing.
Half the time it looks like we're playing with two at the back. Because every time I get the pictures from Sava, from Stell, and from other channels, we seem to get caught out with just two defenders every time because we don't have no bloody wing backs or no bloody full-backs there. Why can't he see this? Is he just...
If you play two at the back, you've got to do... You don't play out the back if you've only got two at the back. If you play two at the back, you need to have them deep You need a DM in front of them, and they're just like lazy school centre backs. They're just there, they stay there, and they defend. That's all they do if you're playing two at the back like that.
You got to have out and out basically centre backs is what you're saying, like a John Terry sort of player. You can't
Yeah,
just go and have two ball playing defenders that get it halfway up the pitch themselves. This is why I think Dragusin does not work at Spurs. I don't personally think he's a bad player. I think if you put him in a back three and put him in the central as just a no nonsense centre back and stick Van der Ven on one side and Romero on the other, or whoever we get for him, I think it works so much better. He's an out and out centre back. So why the hell did we go and buy him when it was obvious he's not a ball playing defender, and that is how we play from the back?
he might be useful to the general, just kind of whatever suits the game style manager, because we might want to play three at the back. Three at the back, at least one of your centre backs has got to be a proper centre back, not a ball playing one.
Yeah, that's the way I agree with it. The one you have in the centre is the no nonsense centre back who can press forward a little bit and even cover a DM space to an extent if he has to, or he can even come back and be a bloody sweeper if he has to. That's the way I see a central centre back. I know other people might see it a bit different, but the centre back, just no nonsense, is usually the one I always refer to who was one of the best there ever was, whether you like him or not, was John Terry. He just got stuck in, did what he had to, would have put his face in front of a 100-mile-an-hour shot, got forward and basically covered the DM role when he had to, and even come back as a sweeper when he had to. He'd done his job, but he was no ball-playing centre-back. He was no ball-playing defender. This whole system, I just can't get my head around it. Our fans like us can come on here and see the problem many a time, and he just don't see it, or he just don't want to see it, or is he just that naive that he can't see it, or is it that he has actual problems where he just cannot adapt? I mean, why? Can you even answer that? Why? Why don't he see it?
I don't know. Maybe it's just some sort of like mental block. Maybe sort of he don't want to change. He just kind of he wants to do this kind of football and nothing else. Sort of like personal choice.
Well, it definitely looks that way, mate. And personally, I don't think he just can't adapt, and he can't see it any other way. He's not going to do it any other way, and that is why he's not going to be at the club at the end. Well, that is the question I can ask you. Do you think we will hang on to him? Do you think we will?
If we
Because
get
some people think we do.
if we get smashed by Frankfurt, or just like go out the Europa League, start building for next season, because like we ain't going to gain nothing from him being in charge. Might as well just sack him now and then bring in proper manager who knows what they're doing.
That is what I think we should have done over Christmas, because then we would have had a chance of a manager who could rescue your league as such. At the moment, I don't really see the point of getting rid of him, because I don't see any of the players like any of the managers like from Bournemouth, Fulham, who we want, Silva or Crystal Palace and that. I don't see none of them leaving their team now, so we don't really have much option. And yeah, when you're willing to sit here and say I'd get rid of my manager for Ryan Mason, that's bad, isn't it? That's not good. I mean, taking. Do you know what? I agree with you. I'd take the same. Get rid of him now and just use Mason till the end of the season, because I don't think Mason would use the inverted wing back swing, and I think he'd have more control over a centre back system, over a defence system. I think he'd have more knowledge what to do with it as such. Now, I'm not saying he's a good coach. He bloody isn't. I'm not even saying he's manager quality, but I don't think he'd make the same mistakes that Ange was. And I think he'd bring that little bit of stability to the team that we haven't got. So apart from that, we don't really have no options, do we? Until to hang on to him until the end of the season. We should have done it in Christmas. I mean, wouldn't you have said that was the better time to do it over Christmas?
Uh, the only reason why I would keep Postecoglou is Sod's Law. It's like I don't think he's ever not won something in the second season. If we sack him, we'll never know. It might just somehow bring that. We win Europa League, that then gives us, say, 5 years to like build a squad and get back into it with like a proper manager, so we can then go, and then 5 years later we win an FA Cup or something, and then we get back into just slowly building into becoming a very good team again.
Well, the chance it would give us is Champions League, innit? But again, Levy's already said basically that he ain't going to spend the money, and that is our only chance. But with the way we are at the moment, and if Ange wins Europa, I think he gets another 6 months. We are going to get absolutely fucking destroyed in that Champions League. I mean, you look at the teams we've played in the Europa. When we've played anyone who's half decent, we have got absolutely cooked every time. I mean, even Rangers had a better game than us. And that's going some for me. I mean, that Scottish league is ranked lower than the bloody American league, for God's sake. That is another one we should have been going there to win that game. Even against that team, I still can't pronounce their name properly, Carrier Bag, I call them. It's the easiest way to say it. Even with them, if they had someone who could finish the ball, they would have they opened us up enough times. If they had someone who could finish it and put it in the back of the bloody net, we would have been in trouble in that game, like a couple of others. We play against Roma, who are now a very decent team. And they was a good team then, but they was having one of the worst starts, and I think they was already on their second manager, or was it even their third manager, when they played us. And they was a complete and utter mess in Italy. Yet they come to us and get a draw. When have we actually done good against any team in Europe that's you wouldn't even class as a quality team, but you class as a better team than someone like bloody Carrier Bag or even AZ or even AZ Alkmaar?
So there isn't really anyone that we have beaten, but I was going to go to like Rangers. They're in a similar sort of place relative because they had Philip Clement in for quite a while. They were only doing well in the Europa League. They've been out of the Scottish title fight since like October, November, and it's just like Aberdeen have had a better season than Rangers, and they're like Philip Clement's now gone, and they've got in Barry Ferguson. That's kind of like the equivalent of Saki Postecoglou bringing in Ryan Mason, and like he's brought a little bit of something. They did lose something like St Mirren or something, like 2-0 or something. So
Yeah.
don't think he's that good, but
It's brought a bit of stability there, basically. And that is something we need. I mean, James Flower, you're right to you, mate. How you doing? Evening, Dan. I've been saying for so long, Son out. Mate, you were right. I was wrong. I still think there's a player in him. And I personally think if you go and take Son and you go and put him in Serie A, I think he'd sink in there quite nicely. Because the game's nowhere near as fast as it is over here. And you do see a lot of older players as such, 31, 32, 33, 34 even, still having a good career over in Italy, basically. And that's, for me, purely down to the pace of the game. Tactics totally different as well. I mean, what's your opinion on Son? Being the captain, being the man he has, because he's been brilliant for us. No two ways about it. And people think we're judging him unfairly. I don't think we are. I think a player deserves sunshine blown up his arse when he's doing good, but he also deserves a slap round the face when he's playing bad. For me, it has to work both ways. You can't just have one. Like when some of the people go on about you got to support your team no matter what. No, I'm not going to sit here and big up my team or manager or players when we're playing absolutely shit. I mean, what do you think on Son as captain and the way he's played this season?
he's been rubbish. It's just like nothing's going to happen when the ball's at his feet. I think he could maybe do all right as a second striker, but we need someone that can put the ball in the back of the net. And I think, if I'm honest, but we've got Levy ain't going to spend the cash, but we get something like 512 mil in just profit, not even revenue alone, just profit. We could spend like 200 in a summer transfer, and we could get in some proper players. We could get in that Liam Delap looks pretty good for Ipswich. He's been putting the ball in the back of the net in really good games. And we were linked to like Cunha. I'm not really so sure about that. Wolves is Strand Larson. He's that big man, but he can also put the ball in the back of the net. So he's good to just having a squad. I think it would be like Solanke, but less of a flop because I doubt he would go all the way to 60 mil. Max he would go to he's like 40 because it's Wolves,
I can see where you're coming from them. I mean, for me, Solanke has just been total utter. He's just been totally crap. But why the hell pick Son as manager? I think we all know the reason. It was a PR reason, wasn't it?
Brings in the money. I swear, but I don't think there are too many. I think there's enough. Like there are Tottenham fans in the stadium. That is a majority of them. But going back to that, like Son fans point, there are some. But I was at the game. I went to Park Lane, and it was most of the people there were Tottenham fans. They weren't. Didn't see many like just kind of people with like Korean flags or whatever. And it was like I remember I was singing. I was really trying to get people going when it was tough. When nothing's happening on the pitch, and it was it got to about the 5 people next to me, and then just stopped.
That's pretty much what I saw at the Fulham game. I mean, the fact that I'd sit there and basically whisper to my wife so no one could fucking hear me just about says it all. I mean, I'm used to going to places like where you literally have to scream at your mate where you're sitting next to him so he can even get a rough idea of what you're saying. Like it's like in a bloody nightclub and everything and that, or used to be anyway. And that's bad. Now the one I agree with where you got to back the team up is in the game. Whether you're disheartened by them, this and that, whatever else, you get behind them. You do. You've got to give them that sort of 12th man. I do understand that. I agree with that. But on the other side of it, when we're losing 5-1 to bloody Liverpool, and we're still preaching and singing Ange in, I can't get my head around that one. That one, I must admit, I just don't get it. I mean, I've got 2 people on here who want to come on. For some reason, there we go. I can add you at stage. Savly Master, how are we doing?
All well and back.
Yep, I can hear you back on there now. I don't know why it kicked you. It just YouTube can be funny sometimes. But we got to get rid of Son at the end of the season. I don't think we're gonna. And with what I was saying about getting behind the team, yeah, you do it in a game, but we don't even do that in a game. But the time we seem to get loud is when we're losing 5-1 to bloody Liverpool. How can you do that? How can you be losing 5-1 and bigging up your manager?
It's like the clapping after the games. I don't understand why the players go over to clap the fans and then the fans all clap them. I don't understand that. It's like it's a completely alien concept. Like to me to do that, it's like why are we doing it? The fans are terrible and the players are terrible. So what are we clapping for?
Exactly, that's my point. I hear a lot of other people out there, and do you know what? It's their opinion. They are entitled to it. I won't disrespect their opinion in the aspect of just telling you chatting pure shit. Some of them you can tell. There's one or two you can just say you just do nothing but chat shit, mate. But I will give that person that. Do you know what? The thing I try and do is get the other person's point. Sometimes you just can't understand it. It's like some things in life. You never understand it, but you get it. At least try and get the other person's point. So some of it, I do get their points at what they're trying to say with a out and out positive and everything else. I get it. It doesn't mean I have to agree with it. And with what you're saying now, my team goes and gets banged up 5-1 and then walks up to me at the stand. I ain't standing there fucking clapping for them. But we do that. Why? I don't see other teams do that. I see other teams hurl a bit of abuse at them, like, you fucking pricks, get your act together. What are you doing? What was that? But you're right, we don't. We stand there and we clap for them. We stand there and basically say, oh, well done. And then you get someone like Kulusevski, which I think he's a good player. Definitely inconsistent. But then you get someone turn around like him and say, well, what was the phrase he used? At least we succeeded in life or whatever. I mean, for me, that was comical. I must admit, you just got banged up in a game big time, but then you turn around and say you succeeded in fucking life. I mean, some of them, I don't think they struggle to take the negative side, the abuse. But when you're playing shit, you deserve to get told you're playing shit, don't you think?
Yeah, like going on that abuse bit, it's like some of it you can count like you're playing terribly as abuse in some sort of way if it's in the right context, but quite often it's sort of when it comes to abuse, it's kind of some things I just sort of think, should I really be saying like whatever, because it's like part of me says no, part of me just kind of says whatever, it's football, because it's like everyone else does it, so it's like, what's the difference if I'm doing it? It's sort of, I think that's
Comes with
also
the
the same
game,
with
doesn't it?
clapping.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, mate. There, it's sort of part of the game, isn't it? Really, it comes with part of the game. If you're quite more than happy to stand there and if you're quite happy to more than stand there and take the how good you've been, you've also got to be able to sit there and take the other side. I think it works both ways in everything, whether it's love and hate or whatever else and all that. There's always two sides to it for me. If you're going to say that someone's good, you say that they're good. If someone's being bad, you tell them, mate, you ain't doing your job properly. I agree with a bit that there's no need to get into depth of making it personal, I don't think. But it's another thing for me that just comes as part of the package and you've got to deal with it. And some people just can't handle that shit. I can only speak for myself there. It was me, he can call me what he fucking wants. And I shrugged my shoulders at it. I really couldn't care less. But if someone's telling me and having a go at me, you played shit, mate, get your act together. The whole team, you were diabolical. Manager, you're doing shit. It's been saying it. We've lost 16 games this season just in the league. How can you get moody about that? I mean, how can you be that stuck up yourself that you get moody about it? Or is it just that little bitchy that they just can't handle it? I mean, what do you think on that?
I don't know, the players of some of the players, I just think, why are they still being selected? That when I saw the lineups last night, and it was pretty much exactly the same as the previous match, I was like, why can we not? If I were doing it, I would rate everyone out of like I give everyone stars or like out of 10 or whatever. If you were below 5, you're probably getting relegated to the bench. If you were below 3, you're getting kicked out of the match day 23. 23. Is it 23? I don't know. 11 plus bench, whatever.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get where you're going.
So there's no change, and I think why was Son starting? Mikey Moore should have started. Mikey Moore. He's not played in ages, and he's never been bad. He's he he's he. I think he can put the ball in the back of the net, albeit he's not done too much there. But he's creative in the front line. We only have creative in pretty much Lucas Bergvall. We need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net and who can play as a winger. Because it's like, do we really have wingers? We have left midfielders that are they just pass back. They don't run with. They don't take the opportunity to go forwards when it matters. They just sort of they're lazy. They stop on the halfway line.
Do you think that's them though, or do you think that's the way Ange tells them to play? Because the one I can definitely use is a goalkeeper, and I have not seen one goalkeeper for us yet. Now, don't get me wrong, I rate Vicario, and I told everybody we have not got a bad buy there, yeah? The only reason a lot of people slammed him straight away is because he did look like the cheap shot out, basically, and he did. And he'd only done a year and a half in the Serie A. The rest of his team was in Serie B. But he was a very highly talked about goalkeeper when he had that first whole season. And the fact of behind it, which I explained to a lot of people, is Inter was selling Onana. Now, we've all seen what a pile of shit that's been. But trust me, when he was at Inter, he was a good goalkeeper. Very good goalkeeper. And since he's gone United, he's been probably one of the most shocking keepers in the bloody league. And that was why Inter had basically had it all sorted out with Vicario, but they could not get him because the money in Italy is so tight that they had to sell Onana first before they could get Vicario in to replace him. And where that took a bit long to do the deal with Man U, we just stepped in and said, thank you, come again, basically. And a lot of people looked on him as a cheap shot there. I'd only seen him play a few times, but one thing I do think is Vicario. I think he's one of the best shot stoppers in the Premier League. I mean, the amount of practice he gets with the shots he gets on him in a game, you'd expect someone to get better with it. I mean, talk about practice, for God's sake. That's unreal when you're getting 20 shots a game at you, and that's ones on target, let alone off target a majority of the day. But he does not look happy on his feet. Even Fraser Forster, when we played him, a couple of games, he actually looked pretty solid. I don't rate him as a keeper, no, but he done better than we thought. But the second the ball went onto his feet, he was shitting bricks. And any other keeper that we've used, as soon as the ball goes onto their feet, they're nervous as. Why is it? Why do you think that? I mean, I don't even know if you agree with this, but why do you? I think that when we're in front of our own goal, we take more chances with the passes than we do in front of their goal. And I just can't seem to work that out. I get it playing out from the back, but why take those dangerous chances of a 40-60 chance that you're going to get the pass right to up front? Because you've got to make a chance to get a chance for me.
It's because we're all squished together, but they play in a similar way. They're all pushed in a penalty box, but they still try and play like they've got one guy's in the top of the east stand, the other one's on the top of the west stand or something. They play like they've got that space when they're in a 2 metre box.
It's just hard to take on because we do just take more chances in front of our own goal than we do bloody any other than we do up the other end of the pitch. Why is it when we're up the other end of the pitch? I mean, I get what you're saying. You're right in what you're saying, 100%. But when you're up the other end of the pitch, all right, there might only be I'm using random numbers here, but there only might be a 30% chance that that ball goes through. Take it. Do it. If you don't make a chance, you don't get a chance. Maybe that's just how I see it different to a couple of people. But why don't we do that up there, Rick? We only do it on our own bloody goal line. Why do we not do it up there, Rick? That's the bit I can't get my head around, mate. I mean, what do you think on that? The fact that we do take more chances in front of our own goal. Why don't we take the chances up front? Because we do get up front enough. We just do fuck all with it.
I think, I don't know. It's true. I think we get. It's because we sort of play something like total football, and it's like I don't think that suits us too well because we end up. We've got all the time in the world as we're going up. We just need. They need more practice of just like ball in, one touch, shoot, or just shoot straight away. Like they need more practice to that, and we don't do that because we play too much position. Even Pep Guardiola plays the occasional long ball over to Ireland, and they look a lot better because of it.
In games where we have used the long ball, I do think we've looked significantly better. I think we just look better as a Conte team. And what I mean by a Conte team, we just look better out and out as a counter-attacking team. I mean, for me, it's quite simple. You play the three at the back. We got the two wing backs. You can take your pick in midfield, and then you can take your pick of two attacking midfielders and a striker or an attacking midfielder, Madison sitting behind them with two up front. Not that we got much choice with strikers either. I mean, up front, we just don't look scary, do we? But the mad thing is, we're in the position where we are. We've still got what? Is it 11 or 12 goals plus? That only 4 or 5 teams in the top 6 or 7 have got better. And you got to admit that strike force, it don't look scary, does it?
We need more strikers, you know. I think Will Lancashire, and I think what's that, Scarlett. If I'm honest, I would probably completely just like drop Solanke at the team, you know, for just like one match, whatever. Because I think Scarlett, he's essentially been robbed of his chance of coming in a bit late into a game by Matthias Tell. It's like, I think Scarlett, there's something there because like he's only played 2 games and he looked pretty solid. You know what I'm saying? He's on loan in West Brom, but what's him? Will Lancashire. He's big man up top. We need a player like that in our squads. I don't know why he's on loan.
Yeah, Anthony Clark, Arsenal fan. If you want to come on and say a bit, mate, you're more than welcome. Dietrich, Rich, how are you two doing?
Good, how are you? How's everyone doing?
Like I said, mate, same Spurs, different day.
Well, at least for the first time I can say I was actually entertained of watching Spurs on Thursday. We actually look good. I think we look good, better than usual. But I'm still seeing the same mistakes from the back. But other than that, going forward, we look lethal.
I've got to disagree there. I don't think we look that good, mate. I think lethal might just be the wrong phrase. I mean, I think we did look better at certain points, but in that first half, I definitely don't think we were the better team. Second half, I think we got it together more than they did. And we definitely had more chances and just made nothing of it. I mean, where do you think this is going to go in the second leg?
Oh, we're getting cooked second leg. It's going to be... I don't think it's going to be a good watch. And especially... You guys heard the away fans at the stadium, the way they were screaming and chanting. It's going to be 10 times worse at this stadium.
That was shocking, wasn't it?
Yeah, players like Bergval and players that are not used to this atmosphere are gonna. I think they're gonna crumble, and it's
You think they're
perfectly
gonna?
normal. Because you saw it against Galatasaray the way like every player just
Yes,
looked lost.
look scared. I mean,
Yeah,
Galatasaray is a scary place to go
exactly.
for anybody, in my opinion. Even if you're one of the top teams in the world,
Yeah,
Galatasaray is not or Fenerbahce is not a nice place to go and play football. No two ways
Frank.
about it.
You know, Frankfurt. They have a top. They were ranked top five away fans in the whole of Europe. So we gotta be careful.
No, I didn't know that. I mean, the ones I've been to in Germany is Munich and Dortmund, and Dortmund put on a show without a doubt. And they are loud and
Hmm.
they're fun to be around as well. Apart from the fact that you get covered in beer the minute they score a goal and it pisses you right off, but it's part of the game, isn't it? So, Rich, what do you take on the what do you take? I mean, I've been talking with Master, and what do you think of the game against Frankfurt? How do
Well,
you think that went along? Where do you
yeah,
think that second leg's going to go?
I saw it a bit differently to Dietrich, if I'm honest with you. I thought that is our biggest game bar none for the whole season. And
I agree.
I thought we did exactly the same sort of stuff we normally do, but just more intensely. And we had that 10-minute spell where we like really worked their keeper, which was good to see.
Mm.
Bergwell had that shot. Their keeper made a couple of really good saves, let's face it. But
That one he
aside
put
from
onto the
that,
crossbar was a good save.
yeah,
I'll
yeah, and
give
then
that.
obviously the last minute like chance for from Van der Ven. But do you know what? Apart from that spell, and let's face it, most teams in a game have a spell, let alone the home team in a mass their biggest game of the season. Apart from that, I thought Frankfurt looked pretty comfortable. If I'm really completely honest with you, and I thought they could always
Mm.
hurt us on the break, and they were just that was just their game plan. They're waiting for us to come onto them, and then you could sort of do the freeze frame where you look and like we've got two men and they've got four men like coming onto us. You could that happened multiple times. I literally thought it was a more intense version of exactly the same stuff. So I don't like to be negative, and I thought the players tried. I don't think that anyone can say the players didn't try in that game and that they've given up on Ange. But same shit, different day.
Well, for me, I mean Johnson just goes without saying. For me, I think he's a fucking terrible player, but he has scored 16 goals this season, and you can't take that away from the man. I mean, for me, he's more of a player that I'd bring on for 20 minutes at the end. I mean, I'd get him out of my club, but I wouldn't necessarily mind him on the subs bench to come in to try and get that tap in. He has scored 16 goals.
Do
People
you know
know I
what?
don't rate him. He can't take
It's
his
not
man
just.
on. He can't pass. He can't cross. He can't hold the ball. He can't do jack shit. But he does get in that little space when it comes to tap it in the back of the net.
Do you know what? It's not just because he's Welsh, but for me, he could be a player a bit like Craig Bellamy, so more of an inside forward, and that's his game. Um, just a rapid man with a big man playing on the shoulder. He's not a right winger. He can't beat a man. He can't control the football very well and sort of play a possession based game. But as a sort of inside forward, you'll probably get the best out of him. Um, But obviously, we don't play like that with this manager. And the trouble is, until we know if we're going to keep this manager, God, I can't believe I'm saying that. We just don't know what players we need and what players are useful to keep around next season, and what there just needs to be a complete again like look at all the squad and just think what do we need here. But I kind of say in terms of tell, and people think I'm going in on a kid and it's really early days, but I've seen literally nothing. And I know we're trying to renegotiate the price, but even at 30 million, to send him back, he's not shown me anything.
I think that is, I must admit, one of the most annoying points. I mean, Master, do you think Tell's worth 30 mil to go back for and get him? Now, maybe as a future player, we can all shrug our shoulders and say maybe you don't know what happens in the future. But is he really the type of player we need to go for next season? Ain't we got enough kids that can't even get into the bloody team?
If he's worth 30 mil, I'm worth 2. I don't think he's good enough. I just think, and he's not a player we need. We have the money to be able to attract a good player from, say, Spain or Germany or something. Get kind of 23-year-old, 26-year-old, something. Someone who can be here for like 4 years, and we can build our next big squads. There was like that Fermin Lopez or something. He's our attacking midfielder for Barcelona. Like, I think market value is something like 50 mil. We could probably get him for something like 70 or something. Will probably be the price raised to. We could do that, and he could be ours if we pay the wages.
Well, that's one thing we definitely don't do. I mean, I personally think one who definitely impressed me that last night was what's his name? Eketi? Is that his name? How you say it? He actually impressed me last night.
Ekitike.
That's the one. And I think he's a player we could look at getting because I think we could afford his price, and I think we could afford his wages because it's not as though he's on 100,000, 150,000 at Frankfurt. I think that type of player I could go for, but I don't think we need any more youth in this team. I mean, I know people see it different. Yeah, you got to have youth, whatever else. But for me, you got to build that first team, and then have a youth team to work its way into that first team. Not build a fucking youth team that ain't gonna see no positive because they are the team and slowly building up. And then you're gonna get teams like Man City, Chelsea, like Barcelona, Munich, other teams you can name out there who are just gonna pop in and say thank you. I mean, if Mikey Moore don't start getting games, I personally think Man City are just gonna snatch him. I mean, what do you three think on that? Do we stick with this project, even if it is a fucking project, of youth players, or do we have to get these couple of experienced ones in? I don't want to go to the Archie Gray one. I'm not going to go to it properly, but that is one of my main issues. We could have got an established midfielder, and that is what we needed, not a youth player who's never even played in the Premier League. Do we stick with this project system of going for youth players, or have we got to get some experienced players into that team? Anyone?
I'll just say I don't mind buying young players, but if you look at, for example, the player at Crystal Palace, Adam Wharton, he's young, but I would buy him, for example. That's the kind of player I want to see instead of Archie Gray, someone that has no experience in the Premiership. Or I can name you, or or the defender that plays at Bournemouth. He's young and he's quality. I don't think age is an issue. I just think we need somebody that's comfortable, that's technically gifted, not someone that needs like a couple of years to get better. Because, for example, Bergval and Archie Gray, that's a big gamble, and that's a lot of money we spent. And now with the new director of football we just got, and we're gonna probably sack what's his name, the Austrian guy. What's his name?
Lang.
Lang. Yeah.
Lange, or whatever his name is.
No, I mean Scotman. We're probably gonna sack him.
Yeah.
So what was the point of this year spending almost 300 million on Postecoglou? What was the point of doing that? Because probably Vena is not going to agree, and he's probably going to bring a new philosophy. Even Paratici. Unless we buy the right youth, I'm all for it, but you need a couple of experienced players. And those experienced players are not that expensive. There's a player that plays in Torino. His name is... I totally forgot his name. He's a midfielder. He's quality, and he's going to cost us 30 million. I don't understand, like, what's the meaning of Spurs? Like, why would you not buy players that are cheaper and they're going to give you more of an impact? Because spending 40 million on Archie Gray, that's just a waste of money.
I agree. I think we could have quite easily gone for what's his name? Is it Kudus who went to Roma?
And the player I'm talking about, it's Samuel Ricci, the Italian guy. that plays at
Yeah.
Torino. He's a quality midfielder.
I mean, why go for a young player with no experience when we could have got that Kudus who's on half the money he is, if I remember right, or at least 10 grand less, more established, and could get into that first team. This
But
is
you
what I
realize,
just don't get. I don't get it.
Dan, do you realize that the money we spend on Solanke is almost the same that the cities spend on Marmoush? It's almost the same thing. And Marmoush is 10 times the player of Solanke. I just don't understand the thinking behind spending big money on players that nobody cares about.
And
Desperation.
people
That's what
sit
it is.
here and tell me to be fucking positive, mate. Like, go on, Rich. You were just saying this. Go on.
No, I was going to say it's desperation, isn't it? Because we really don't have much of a clue what we're doing. We're obviously going for the youth to try and get the wage bill down. That's why we're going for youth. We want to keep the value of these players and bring the wage bill crashing down. But the point is, the point I wanted to make is that obviously Paratici was seen floating around last night again. There's absolutely no pissing way in hell that he is going to accept a manager like Ange Postecoglou next season. He likes pragmatic managers, and obviously I know that goes against what the club said, and we've got our Tottenham back and all that, but there's absolutely not a chance Paratici is going to sit there and watch this sort of football and this sort of recruitment going on. I think if he comes in, I'm really hopeful that we'll do what Dietrich said and get, say, 3 established, cheaper players who may not be young and may be sort of like they might need more wages, but who can come in and instantly give experience and help the younger players sort of bed them in and just give them a bit of stability. And that's what we need really, because let's face it, we're not going to do what Chelsea do, which is bring in young players and loan them all out, and also bring in established players. What we're going to do is obviously bring in young players. We need to play them. We can't just loan them all out. We need to, if we're paying that money, we need to play them, which is what Ange isn't doing unless he has to. But then we need that
That
stability, a few more older players in there as well next season.
I mean, that for me is the biggest problem. We don't pay the wages, and that's just it. And I'm still a firm believer that I think a majority of fans these days are actually more mercenary than they are playing for the game as such, playing for the love of the game. Whereas you go back 20 years, sort of thing, you had your players like Lampard, Gerrard, and the list can go on basically. And they played for the game because they loved the game. I think a majority of players now are more playing for the job. Personal opinion. And I think you pay the wages, you can get 70% of whoever you want. But the position we've got ourselves in now, into 14th, is even if we pay double the fucking money, who is really going to want to come to Spurs? I mean, I've had this debate with Sava so many times that I personally say that you pay the money, you get what you want. Money talks. And he always says who would come to Spurs. But that was when we finished fifth. We're now going to finish between 17th and 12th. I think we're going to finish about 14th. Who the hell is Warner going to come here? I mean, Mark and Mark, good to see you both. How you doing?
Evening, Dan. Evening, Dan. How are you, mate? And panel, Rich,
You're
Dietrich.
right.
How's everyone doing?
Yeah, all good.
Evening, lads.
Okay.
Evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Nice to see you.
Same Spurs, different day, mate.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think we're going to go on buying players next season? Who is really going to want to come to us? Does that mean we are actually going to have to stick to a youth system to get youth players in there, basically, because they're the only sort we're going to be able to get? Unless you manage to snatch someone like we did Maddison from the side who's been relegated. I mean, we're meant to be looking at that Southampton left back, aren't we?
What, the young one? Diblin?
Yeah.
Are we? Oh.
Well, that's what I've read. Whether it's true
Yeah.
or not is a different story,
Yeah,
but I have read it.
For me, it depends who the manager is.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you bring... Well, it's quite obvious we're going to change managers, to be honest. I hope.
Please.
But, like, you know, if you can get a manager in that's got... I mean, he's going to attract players, I would have thought. You know, if we end up with Palace's manager, he's going to bring in, you know, he's going to know stuff about Palace players. So we'll have Eze and all the rest of them there. There's quite a few at Palace I'd take. You know, so it depends. I mean, as far as attracting people to Tottenham, look at the facilities we got. Look at the stadium we got. And we shouldn't have any problem attracting people, in my opinion. It's what they do once they're there, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, but it's not just about the facilities. I mean, one of the only ones I can name that done that is Maddison. He didn't even turn up for the facilities, and he basically even admitted it, that he didn't even come to us. It was his wife that wanted to come to us because she wanted to come to London to spend the fucking money.
Yeah.
That was what happened there.
Yeah. I get all that. And, well, as you just mentioned, Dan, London's a big selling point, mine.
It is.
You know? You know, it is. It really is. You know, like the bright lights of London. You know, well, me personally, I don't want to live there, but like, you know, but for a lot of people, like, you know, there's so many places to go, so much to do, you know, but like, it's like I said, to me, it's who the next manager is, you know, because they're going to be up for attracting people, you know.
It's with that. Again, it's like I said, I feel a lot of players are more than happy to pay for money now. But if we finish 14th and are blatantly not in Europe or anything, Levy's definitely going to cut that money even more.
Mm.
Who can we really attract that can change this team? I mean, Master, what do you think? I mean, are we only going to be able to attract youth players? Or do you think we can actually get some stability there and get some players in who can actually get in that first team? Because I think personally, in about the past 18 months, we've signed one player who gets in that first team, and we're now even comparing him to fucking Richie, for God's sake.
I think we could do with someone like a Perisic. I mean, he's gone now, but someone like a Perisic, just like 28 or 31, someone that's kind of closing towards the end of their career, you know, sort of slightly past their let's call it peak. They might be considering a move to maybe Turkey or something. Snatch them up, get them in there. That will accelerate us forwards, and then we can also attract the youngsters. And then we'll be building quite a good ecosystem where we can develop the youngsters without sort of throwing them in to the cooking pot. We've got to add them slowly, and it will be much better.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. I mean, for me, you have to establish your first team first. I mean, Mark, what do you think on that? Dietrich, is it just going to screw us up that much that we can't even attract a bloody player because we don't pay the wages? We get a half decent manager in now. That has a pull on its own. A manager that is just got a little bit of respect, or a manager that players know has to play football, basically. But if we don't do that Europa Cup, I can't even see how we're going to attract players, because Levy is going to cut that money even more.
Dan, do you realize only at Arsenal they haven't won any trophies lately, but they're challenging for a Prem? Do you realize only 3 players are under 100,000 a week?
Yeah,
it's only 3 players, and that's the standards you only challenge. It's not even winning a trophy. So if you wanted to win a trophy, it's going to cost you even more money.
Yeah, it's why Arsenal can't win it. They just can't get across that bloody line. And I think the comical thing is about it, the one they had the best chances this season, where City have been, I will say, dog shit compared to what they usually are, and then all of a sudden Liverpool pipe up and make them look like schoolboys. That's got to be disheartening on its own. But
For me, wages is more important than transfer fees. If you can pay the wages, any
yes,
player other than, let's say, the Howlands, like those kind of calibers, are going to come
yeah,
to Spurs.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer. You put the wages down, you can get money talks. Money
Because
talks. But
even
we ain't going to pay those wages.
because even Perisic, he was old and he was a free transfer, and we had to pay him almost 200K just to bring him at Spurs. Like, you have to
Because of
set a standard. Yeah,
yeah, because of how established he was.
exactly.
I mean, I think Master said it perfectly because it's the one that I've been saying for days. I think he was the type of player we needed in January. Someone like Perisic, someone who's got the experience, someone who's been there, done it, someone who's got the storybook, someone who other players can look up to a bit because they've been there and done it. And we go and get another fucking kid that can't do nothing,
hmm
who isn't established, hasn't got no experience. Now, who knows? Give him a bit of time. Tell might end up in dog's bollocks, but he's
No, he's
not what we
crap.
need right now.
No, I'm sorry. He's never going to be any better than what he is. He's
No,
not good
he's
I
enough.
not.
And to spend 60 million on him would be criminal. Because it's 60 million plus 10 million the loan fee we just spent. So almost 70. Is that the kind of calibers we need to pay?
I think a lot of it depends, Dan and the panel, on who gets sold as well in the summer.
I'm literally making a list now of that.
I think that's a big bearing on it. Now, don't get me wrong, for argument's sake, if they got 150 million in or whatever, let's just use that figure. You know as well as I do that Levy's not going to put that 150 million back into the team. You know? So, as regards to buying players next year, I wouldn't give Ange another penny. If he's here next season, God knows where we're going to finish in the league, Dan. You know, and we've had this conversation, all of us really, over the course of time. The league form from the last 10 after the 10 games where we was 8 and 2 draws, basically from then on, it's been an absolute shit show in the league. We are not far off relegation form since that day, game 11 last season. Anyone can go and see it, up until now. It is shocking. Absolutely shocking, man. So, you know, the only way I can see players coming in, and they're not going to be players of the ilk that we want, because as you've just said, he won't pay the wages. He's not gonna go and pay a 30-year-old, 31-year-old with experience 150 grand a week. He don't do stuff like that. You know, we need experience badly. And it's all right for the manager to say, well, I'll grow the leaders. Yeah, well, that's fine. You grow the leaders, but they're not going to be leaders for another couple of 3 years. We need leaders and experience now for next, you know, if it's not for you know, this season, obviously for next season. And the only way I can see players of maybe a decent, because we've got no cup next year unless we win this, it's just league games, is that if they get a manager in like, I don't know, a Glasner, a Frank, a Silva, you know, you can name a few others, and they manage to bring a few of those players on the cheap side to Spurs because they're not on massive wages at the clubs that they're at. I don't see how otherwise it will change, Dan.
It is down to the wages at the end of the day because we do seem to pay the money up front, but I just don't see that finishing 14th. I think we're going to really, really struggle on how we bring in any type of player. And I'm still a firm believer in you need to sort out that first team before you sort out the younger players.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you have the under 21s, you have the under 16s. I know all that crap, yeah. But if you were in that under 21s team, under 20s, under 18, whatever, and we're doing this youth project bullshit, wouldn't you feel a bit disheartened? Especially if you're someone like Mikey Moore, who looks like he's got pure quality on him, who looks like he could be a great player. I mean, I'm not saying he won't be. I'm saying he looks, because none of us can really say whether he's gonna end up a great player. We go and buy someone like fucking Odebert to go on there, and then he can't get a game in. We go and I don't want to go into the story again, but we go and get an Archie Gray in, who played as a right back and a centre back purely because we had injuries and has seen about 80 minutes in midfield.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we just gone out and spend that 60 million on an established hardcore player?
Because
We don't.
Because 60 million on an established hardcore player, Dan, like you just said, he's probably going to cost you the best part of 200 grand a week. You know, on a, 2, 3, 4 year contract. Levy ain't going to pay that to someone coming in the club because he knows they're going to be knocking on his door. Hang on a minute, how's he on that dough? And I'm on 40 grand a week, 60 grand a week. You know, he's got himself in that position now where he's dropped the wages. Not for everyone, obviously. There's players still on big money at Spurs, but majority of them, you know, he took 40 million or something off the wage bill last year alone.
Yeah, I get it. It's just a point I want to make. RJ, you do seem to love and try it, mate. I'll give you that one. I'm messing with you. I'm an Arsenal fan. No shit, Sherlock. I'd have never guessed that one. I'm openly mocking the HotspurHood and Tottenham away. What are you mocking? When I can sit here and tell you we have been shit this year, that Arsenal are the bigger club, Arsenal are the better club and have more to show. But then I throw the other fact at you that you're diabolical in Europe and are worse than us. What out of that doesn't make sense to you? I'm just being honest. I'm the first one to sit here and say when we are shit, mate. So if you want to carry on with your stuff, mate, just carry on with it. But you ain't mocking nobody. You would be mocking me if I would be defending Tottenham, if I would be saying we're not terrible, if we're not a shit club, if you are not better than us. But I say otherwise. People like you, fella, you're too easy. I'll tell you what, mate, no problem. Come on the show with me. Come on now. Come on now. I'll put the link for you. I'll make everyone else keep their mouth quiet and just me and you have a good chat about Arsenal and Spurs. Because it'd just be entertaining. If not, get some of that testosterone out of you. Go laid or go have a wank. Either of them work. It lets it out, mate. But anyway, keep on mocking. Sorry, people. Back to the point. Where were we?
Sorry, yeah.
Right.
Do you want my list down of all the players that are probably going to need to leave in the summer?
Go for it, mate. Go for it. Say what you wish to say.
So, well, I'm just looking at the listing. There's a frightening amount of players that probably need to move on again. It's going to be a massive summer again. So, in terms of stability, we've had 2 massive years of like transition. So Forster will go because he's a big wage earner and he's like a tree and he's about 100 years old. Whiteman will probably go, even though he's homegrown, because we've got about 1 million keepers as well now already. Davis might go because finally maybe we might realise he's pretty old, and even though he's a Welsh captain and international player, possibly time to move him on just so we can get a transfer fee for him before he leaves on a free. Obviously, Timo Werner's going to piss off. Brandon Austin, yet another keeper.
I hope so. I hope so.
So Brandon Austin, another keeper. How many keepers do we need? Romero clearly wants out. He'll be the big marquee sale probably. We get some cash for the geezer, and he's had 1 foot in Madrid probably the whole season anyway. Manor Solomon, for political reasons, they'll bin him off to Leeds. Richie will go because Richie, even though I think he's better than Solanke and he actually is more of a natural finisher, he's always injured. And Bissouma, I mean, I think there's a player in there without a shadow of a doubt, but he's stunk under Conte. In this system, he's been made to look about 10 times worse than he actually is. But I just think sometimes you've got to call it and say, you've been here for that long and you've just not shown anything, so maybe move on. And then you've got the contentious ones like Sonny, who's, they triggered his extension probably to get a fee out of him. I think he looks so unhappy he wants to go to Bayern. And then you've got Deki Kulusevski, who probably wants to go back to Italy because he sees what an absolute shambles we are. And then we got things like players like Scarlett, who, for me, probably is just not going to quite cut it. So we might as well get a fee for him as well.
I mean,
That's a lot of players, isn't it?
I get what you're saying, but I don't want to go in and get rid of 6-7 players straight away to bring 6-7 players in or 3 players in. I think that's been more one of our biggest problems. I think what you've said there, I agree with it, but I think that's more for me over 2 seasons, basically, over 1 season and then at the start of the next season. I mean, Kulu, I wouldn't want to lose him because on his day he's a good player.
Definitely.
But very inconsistent, but can also be a good player. He's one I'd rather keep. I mean, the way I do it is I put it in blocks, basically. And what I mean by that is I put blocks of players' names in there, sort of thing, of who we need to get rid of first, second, third, fourth. And for me, Højbjerg was one on the third or the fourth. I didn't really want to get rid of Højbjerg. And I found quite a few people, and I know the one who has to swallow it most and nearly makes him sick doing it is Alex, when he says, I wish we hadn't got rid of Højbjerg. Me and Ellie were telling everyone for a while we shouldn't get rid of him yet. Don't a few people wish we still had Højbjerg in that midfield? I don't know. What do you lot think? I mean, Master, you haven't said much for a while. What do you think on that one?
We need a DM. Just someone who he can do a bit of passing left, right. You know, he can just lay balls off. He's essentially meant to be there, sort of about 10 metres back from the ring in the centre, and he's just there to clean up the mistakes and maybe pass the ball forward a little bit. You know, he's like a centre back, a kind of ball playing centre back, about 20 metres forward.
Yeah. I mean, if we are to get rid of players, what are the main 3 we got to get rid of? I mean, for me, Richarlison's got to go one way or another. But then, from the stats this morning that showed, it's actually got better records than fucking Solanke.
Yeah, at the end of the day, though, Dan, your best ability is availability. You know what I mean?
That does help. Without a doubt, I agree. That does help. And Richarlison, you don't just run around like a headless chicken. He's got legs like a fucking chicken as well. So, don't do him no favours. That's it.
Never available, though, is he?
Dan, I will say, I was chatting earlier. I can't remember whose show I was on this morning. Jay's, I think. I rewatched the match a little bit back this morning, and what I noticed about Bentancur is he was the deeper one of the 3. Right? Maddison and Bergvall were doing what they were doing, and in the first half, I noticed a lot of people said, "Well, Bentancur was poor in the first half." Well, on the ball he was, yeah, Dan. But what I did notice about him was Porro and Udogie were so far forward at times. All Bentancur was trying to do when the ball was turned over was put out fires. And pretty much in the first half, that was all he did. He was covering from sort of that defensive midfield position up to the halfway line, right the way across the pitch. He was Porro's and Udogie's cover. And that was what he was doing in the first half, and that's why he was never on the ball.
But he was the only one in midfield that we seemed to have any aggression, any sort of leadership to him. I mean, I'm not saying he's a quality player, but he's definitely a player that you could notice on the pitch by the way he got stuck into the game a lot more than the rest of our midfield do. He actually had a bit of power on him. He actually had a bit of bulldog to him, whatever you want to put it. Whereas who now have we got? I mean, we don't play with a DM anyway, even though in some ways we do. We just expect our midfielder to be an attacking midfielder and midfielder, DM, a left back or right back, and a fucking defender at the same time. I mean, please find me one player that could ever pull that off. But having even the closest we got to a DM is Bentancur, because he did play at Juventus, but he played a lot slower rate and he played as a deep playing playmaker sort of thing and a defensive midfielder. We have no one there to cover that shit. And
Dan, we do have a DM, and we bought him for 40 million. That's Archie Gray.
fucking DM, yeah, of course he is, mate. I mean, is anyone intimidated about in midfield about when you got Archie Gray and Bergvall chasing at you?
Listen, Dan, you're joking about that, mate. The way things are going, that will be your midfield next season.
Oh, I don't think
it will be Archie Gray playing in a 6 because there's no one else there to do it, and we can't afford to buy anyone. And they've sold Bentancur and they've sold Basuma and whatever else. And this is the lad that's coming through, like you say. We bought him as a DM. He's played 80 odd minutes in a season at DM. He's been played everywhere else along the back line, pretty much. You know, he was bought as a midfielder at £40 million. That is a lot of money. And I've got no doubt the deal was done because the payment arrangement suited Levy. At the end of the day, I'm not saying the kid can't turn out to be a good player.
I think he can.
Be. He may well be. But, you know, if you're going to buy him as a DM, yeah, then play him. Play him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, RJ, I'll come to you again, mate. The reason I come to you is because your comments, I find them quite comical, yeah? And I've got no beef with everyone. Took over my show. Really? What? Because I gave you a comment and told you how to sort your life out, basically, with the testosterone. I haven't seen you come on here to back that up. I mean, you're probably there having a wank thinking that you took over the show. But seriously, mate, come on the show. You're more than welcome. You can keep talking on the side, and I'll repeat some of the stuff you say because it is quite comical and it is amusing. Same as I do repeat what other people say on there. But took over my show. Come on the show. Come on. The link's there. I think we could have a decent conversation. Maybe you'd learn a couple of things. Maybe I'd learn a couple of things. Who knows? Maybe I'd get your opinion. Maybe you get mine. But random dude, that definitely looks American to me because I don't know many English that say that. Yeah. Go play soccer, mate. And with that, you know, I just find him amusing. That's all. I think his comments are quite amusing. And like I say, anyone's welcome to give their opinion on it. Took over my show. You can take your wife over or your boyfriend. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, mate. Sorry. You might be non-binary. I don't know. You might like unicorns. So please don't take no offense when I said girlfriend. So who do you think we've actually got to buy next season and we got a chance of it? Because we definitely need a striker there. I mean, because Solanke, for me, fuck me. What a waste of money that's been.
But, right, you say that about Solanke, but we don't play to his strengths, do we?
No, we don't. I agree with that. He's not a target man. I agree with that. But he has only had one good season. I don't think he gets quite enough service, but I don't rate him as a good player and never did, especially for 65 million.
Yeah, I get all of this, but it's like anything. If you buy a player, you should play to his strengths, man. Like a lot of his goals come with his head.
Any of our players.
No,
Mark,
no.
We don't do it with any of them except Johnson, maybe.
Yeah, that's why. That's why when people go on, oh, this player needs to go, that player, you can't judge any of the players under this shit system we play at the moment. You know, because. Like, Basuma just doesn't turn into a terrible player overnight, does he? Look what he was doing for Brighton when he had the correct players around him.
Yeah, but Mark, there's no offense, but there's context.
Well,
You go from Brighton making like what 10k a week to almost 80k a week. Of course, he's gonna stop taking it seriously. And for Solanke, yes, we can judge him because he's been in the Premier League for how long? 5 years, and he hasn't done anything. Only one time.
I get that. I do get that.
1 year out of 5 is more than enough to tell you that he's not good enough. And he's 27.
Yeah, I understand all that. But I think to judge any of our players under the system we play is, you know, You know, because
Dietrich, do you remember Soldado when he came?
Yeah, I remember Soldado, yeah.
You remember Soldado banging him in all over the gaff? Yeah. We bought him, never played to his strengths, and then everyone called him shit.
Yeah.
Because he was always used to playing with two strikers. That's why he always had the man next to him.
Yeah.
That's how they played at the time.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Mark, I understand, but like still.
Oh,
our system is based on attacking.
Yeah.
And you only have 8 goals this season.
I get where you're coming from, mate. It's not my cup of tea.
You have 7 goals. And even I'm just talking about those little details. Holding up the play, he's not capable. Even the way his positioning is god awful. Like just the little things he's not good at. And the main one as a finisher, he's, no offense, I think he's even worse than Llorente.
The point I was trying to get across, Dietrich, was we bought Soldado, and it never worked because we never played to his strengths.
Yeah,
right?
but
we know Solanke wants crosses in. Now, again, Dan will say to me, but Richarlison's headed goals last year, his percentage was more than Solanke. If you don't give the striker the opportunity to score, he's not going to score, Dietrich.
Yeah, but he only had a good year for only one season he was good.
Yeah.
So how can we, for example, Kane, we know his strengths and weaknesses. He cannot run. But at least we know he can shoot and he can hit the ball. And we have years of data to show it. So like it's only one season, and maybe that was just his, let's say, like once in a lifetime.
I'm just trying to balance the argument a bit, Dietrich. I don't want him either. Don't think for a second that I think Solanke's any good, because from what I'm seeing, I'm the same as all of you. You know what I mean? He's been pretty rubbish, to be quite honest with you. He worked hard.
This summer, Vlahovic would be available. Like, go and buy him. Spend the wages, go buy him.
I mean, another one I agree with is what Kavinsky has said here, Basuma has to be given a free role because he can't understand football instructions. I get where you're coming from that bit. The thing is with Basuma, he's a very one-minded player. You get some players that can adapt, and you get some players that can't. They can only play their way. Basically the same as Ange as a manager. And Basuma is a box-to-box. But he's one that sits just behind. Sorry about that, got a phone going. He's one that sits just behind the line, gets the ball, charges forward, does a direct ball, left, right, or centre, and then leaves it to the rest of them. And that is how he plays. He is not a DM. He did that play once or twice at Brighton. But when he was at Brighton, he was the most wanted man out in the Premier League that wasn't in the top 4 or top 6. Liverpool was willing to pay 60, 70 million for him. And when he's actually played good for us, it's always been attacking. Now, someone tell me when I'd say 85% of Basuma's fuck-ups, because he has made some fuck-ups, have been. Where have they all been?
Yeah, it's been in the defensive areas, hasn't it? Number 6 area. When he loses the ball. Yeah. It's like I said, none of the players we got at the moment, we play to their strengths. It's always Ange's got his system and his square pegs in round holes. You know?
It's just rigid, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
It's just rigid.
He's just trying to whereas now this is my biggest gripe with Ange. When a manager turns up at a team, all right, you might have seen some of the players on the TV, but you go on the training ground, you assess all your players, you see their strengths, weaknesses, and then you set a system up to like get the best out of them. You know, but Ange has got 4-3-3. It's like Sonny. All right, he gets a lot of criticism this year. Yes, he's 32, whatever he is now. But he has never, ever been a winger in his life. He's never done that. He's an inside forward. Brennan Johnson as well. He gets a lot of stick. He's never been a winger. He's an inside forward. Really, you want my opinion, we should play 2 up front. Solanke plus Son or Johnson. One of them off of him.
Absolutely right.
But because neither Son or Brennan Johnson have ever been wingers in their careers. You look at when Sonny was with Kane. Yeah, all right, Sonny was on the left, but he wasn't a winger. He wasn't a winger. He was the one that was either feeding Harry or Harry was feeding him. And he had pace to burn. He has never been the sort of player. Yes, he had the pace to do it, but you hardly ever saw him like motoring down the wing and getting the ball in. He was Son and Johnson are both inside forwards. And this is where we should be. This is where Ange is just clueless, in my opinion, because he's not playing to the strengths of the players that we got. You're on mute, Dan.
Yeah, there's about 9 players that you can play to that team that he really doesn't play them in that to their.
No.
I mean, I'd say Van der Ven, he plays to what he's good at, but he shouldn't be up the bloody halfway line coming running back.
No.
Vicario goes without saying he's a bloody goalkeeper, but he's not exactly good with his feet. Doji is not an inverted wing back. Porro is not an inverted wing back. Bentancur is not a fucking box-to-box player. Basuma is not a free position player where he's meant to attack, defend, defensive midfield, cover the left, cover the right. Solanke is not a fucking target man. About the only one that I think he plays to his main abilities is Johnson. I think he's the only one that he actually plays to his abilities.
Johnson's never been a winger, though, Dan.
No, I know, but he's actually playing into his abilities. He's got 16 goals.
Yeah. But
and
then
he to have the ability to get into the.
All Johnson's goals is tap-ins at the back post, which means he's like, he's not on the wing, is he, when he scores them?
Okay, so the EE voicemail.
No, I get what you mean, but he's about the only one that seems to have what anyone could see even progressed as a player.
And what you said about Paro and Udogie, let's not forget they're both wing backs. They were bought for Conte as wing backs.
Mm-hmm.
So their job is to bomb forward, not invert into the number 10 role. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, Ange he drives me insane, the man. Because he doesn't play the players. If we had a different coaching, looked at the team and said, right, you're good at this, you're good at that, and worked the system out where we got the best out of them, we'd never be 14th. We'd be like 6th, 7th.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because we ain't got the best squad in the league, but we ain't got the 14th worst, do we? Or the 14th best, wherever we are these days. So it's absolutely, it's baffling.
I don't think 4-3-3 helps us at all, does it? When you think about it in transition, right? You got for argument's sake, you got Bentancur, Bergvall, and Maddison, right? Johnson don't drop back. Son very rarely drops back as well, depending how far he is up the pitch. So when they're coming at us, there's no cover. You've lost 2 people straight away in transition because they're not. You've seen Johnson. How many times have you seen Johnson lose the ball up the pitch and he just jogs back? The other team are off. He's just jogging back, and if it's gone past Son, he won't come back either. You got 2 out of the game straight away, and these 2 that are meant to be here, Udogie and Porro, they're up there within 10 yards of them 2.
I mean, Kulusevski gets back. Even Timo Werner tries to get back. It's one thing Johnson don't do. The minute he loses the ball, he looks over his shoulder and thinks, "Fuck it."
It don't help in a 4-3-3 though, Dan, does it? If they're not doing their bit, do you know what I mean?
I mean, what do we actually play? I mean, people say 4-3-3. I see it as a more of a 4-2-3-1 sort of thing.
Call it what I just see the lineups for it about every time.
Mind you, I say 4. I call it a more 2, like a 2-4.
Yeah.
Because we seem to just play with 2 at the bloody back most of the time, and that is what absolutely. Look, take control of the best team on the fucking planet. You go play with 2 defenders at the back, you ain't winning shit. This is why I called Ange out after 7 games and said, okay, it looks pretty for a minute or two, but over 38 games, you can't sustain this. You can't do this for 38 games. Now, can he still win a cup? You can play that way in a cup and win it, because you can win a cup with luck, as far as I'm concerned, and have a good game in it if some results just go your way. But you ain't doing it over 38 games. Never in a million years. Give him the best teams on the planet with all the money in the world. His tactics, he still ain't winning no league. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
That is how low I rate this manager.
Yeah.
I mean, it has got to that stage of frustration where you're just like, you can't wait for the end of the season. And I haven't felt like that with Spurs for a while now. It's a season that's just gone absolutely nowhere. I mean, you can blame some of the injuries, but then half of them with his fault as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But this is where I keep saying it. It's like when you play poker, you got to play with the cards you got. And when you ain't got your full set, you've got to play with the cards you got, and you can only bluff it so many times.
Yeah.
And I think with the injuries he had, he could have still got a better manager, would have at least still got 10 points. I think he'd have lost quite a few games because he didn't have his full team, but I think a better manager would have still got 8 to 10 points out of that, and we'd be in a significantly better place, but we'd be in the top 10 as such.
Yeah. Well, you've only got to look at teams like Bournemouth and that. How many injuries have they had?
I think
with a far weaker squad. With a far weaker squad than ours.
I think we're third in the amount of injuries we've had. I think Bournemouth is the worst. I don't know who the next is.
Newcastle, isn't it, Dan?
I'm not 100% sure, so I can't really answer it. But I know we are third.
Yeah, we've had a lot of injuries this year, but at the end of the day, have the performances been any different when there's been players in the team that wouldn't normally play? Because the style and the tactics don't change, you know? So it's just the personnel. I don't know. Going back a little bit, Dan, to last night's game, I said to Mark earlier, it seemed to me, it's different because it's in that stadium now, and the singing's in patches around the stadiums. But there was only 3 or 4 times last night that I heard that proper "Come on, you Spurs" ringing round the stadium. You know what I mean? But all I heard for 93 minutes, apart from that, when we oversang them, was Frankfurt fans singing their heart out, Dan, for 90 minutes. You're on mute, mate.
They did. They was powerful. They was over us all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, they was loud. No two ways about that. They was proper loud. And with that one, it was, again, it shows again. That's where I just don't think there's enough Spurs supporters there.
I think you're probably right, mate, to be honest.
Well, me and Mark have spoken, like today, obviously, and we've been saying, like, I never ever went to a European night at the Old White Hart Lane, but I went to plenty of like league games and cup games and that. And that stadium was bouncing, man. It was literally bouncing. Like everyone singing. The noise in the old stadium was crazy. Some games, you just don't get it with this new one.
No, you don't. There's no passion there, and there's no passion, and that's because you've got so many. I do think that a lot of it comes down to the fact that you've got so many fans who are there for Son.
It's day out. Just day out. Yeah, what? I was talking to Mark earlier, and I've sat in the South Stand 3 or 4 times, and there's been people, like, I was right at the back of the South Stand one game, And I stood up and started shouting, "Come on, you Spurs!" And right, people were looking at me as I was like an escaped lunatic.
Mm.
You know, they were just looking at me like, "What are you doing?" And there was nobody else around me singing and shouting.
Hmm.
You know, all right, didn't help. I've been in the bricklayers, but like, you know, is what it is.
Mark.
It is what it is. You know how it goes.
Mark, chaps, I have to go. My missus has just woke up. She's had a load of teeth out today. So I've got to go and make sure she's all right. She's just woke up and I've got to go and settle her down again. All right. Sorry
All
to
right,
jump
man.
off, but she's there now. So I need to go and sort her out. Make sure
Have a
she's
good
all right.
night, bud.
Give
Speak soon,
my,
mate.
can you let Dan know, please? And
Yeah.
I'll see you all again soon. Thanks very much.
I'll
Cheers,
speak to you in the
chaps.
morning, mate.
Yeah, I'll speak to you in the morning. Thanks, Rich. Nice to see you.
See you, mate.
Dietrich,
Take care,
Dan.
mate.
Thank you very much. Marsden, bye, mate.
Oh, yeah, it's gone. I was going to say, is he going to leave? Where's Dan gone?
I was going to say, where's the main man? Where's Dan?
Sorry about that. My streamer just went funny. It was the VPN. The VPN just went funny on it. It does it sometimes. It does just come down to it. We all know until Levy fucks off that nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But we can definitely do better than that. Get us a better manager. I think we do actually have a team there that can get into the top 7 as such.
Yeah.
And even have a decent and go for a cup chance, basically. And until Ange goes as well, we just haven't got a chance in hell.
And as fans, Dan, we're caught in a vicious cycle because what we've got is we've got the team that are letting us down, the recruitment that's letting us down, Levy that's letting us down, Ange that's calling us fans out and saying pretty much all sorts of stuff and arguing with fans, the club telling us that they don't want legacy fans, the club telling us that we're not good enough, and the players even saying pretty much we're not good enough. And then the true fans that go nuts in the stadium, like we all used to in the old in White Hart Lane, and even in the new stadium at the start, we're just so dismayed that we're just selling our seats to the day trippers, who then go in there and they buy all the merch and the clap and they're all happy, but then we don't get our voices heard. So it's a proper vicious circle that we're in as a club at the minute. And I'll be really honest with you, I don't even know how we get out of it, because until something changes, nothing is going to change. And until the recruitment changes and until Levy changes, nothing is going to change. But what I will say is that I will not sit here and take it when we're called out in these chats on the more sort of like mainstream channels saying, "Oh, you Spurs fans are toxic," because I'll tell you one thing. We are the most patient bloody fan base on this planet. You imagine a club like Man United or Liverpool gaslighting their fans to their face and saying you're not good enough. You imagine that.
Yeah.
Or Newcastle, the club coming out and telling their fans that. They would be up in arms. We are the most tolerant, most patient bunch of fans there is going. And I'm absolutely fucking pig sick of being told we're not good fans. They can literally fucking swivel on it, mate.
We're the most accepting fans out of all of it. And a quick one, 7. Thanks a lot, mate, for the super chat. Big up, lads. Let's hope Ange's gone soon. I think he'll be gone at the end of the season. I don't see him staying. I think Levy's already got his book out of managers he's going to go for. Hopefully it don't turn out that it's the 7th chance manager that we go for, because that's what I think Ange was, something like number 6 or 7, wasn't he? And I think just what we need is a manager that knows how to work a football team. It doesn't have to be a manager that can get in there and smash it. But here we go. Same Spurs, different day.
To take your saying, Dan, we just need someone that come in and play with the cards he's got.
Yeah.
You know, see what he's got, assess the team, assess their strengths, assess their weaknesses, and just say, look, this is how we're going to play. You know, and someone who can change it up in games as well.
Now, you see this comment here. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Now, in that aspect, for me, when you're being toxic about talking toxic, but you're accepting being 14th and making fucking excuses left, right, and centre, to me, that is toxic. But people say there's no such thing as a toxic positive fan. But the way it works for me, I know it works different for other people, is when you got one side, there's always the opposite side. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, whether it's funny, not funny, it's always got the opposite. There's always two sides to it. And to a story, sometimes there's 3 or 4 sides, depending who tells it. But if there's toxic negative, 100% there's toxic positive. And when you're more than willing to accept a manager that has lost 20 games this season overall and has lost 16 in the league, got us into 14th place, to me, that's toxic positive. I'm sorry. Sitting there, Alex Ferguson, I've read both his books, yeah. And one of the first things he says, and like when I read Roy Keane's book as well, one of my favourite all-time players, one of the first ones he said, like Roy Keane said, was even if they won that game 5-1, he would go in there and totally bollock them for the goal they let him. If they won 5-1, yeah. He wouldn't go out there and praise the 5 goals straight away. He'd go out and give them the bollocking for the 1 goal they let in. How do you improve? How do you improve in life? How do you improve in football? How do you sort out problems? You've got to notice the problem. If you don't notice the problem, or you just push it under the fucking bed, whatever way you want to put it, you're never going to fix it. If you don't look at the negative sides, which you need to improve on, I mean, like people say, why fuck about with something that's already working? So if it's already working up front, if it's already working in midfield, which it isn't, but this is an example, and it's the back that keeps screwing it up, then you've got to bring out the negative side at the back, saying that they're not doing their job, and we need to fix it. Or am I looking at this the wrong way?
No, man. No. No, it's 100%, mate. Us being 14th, let's face it, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable for a club of our size. All right, I know, like the Arsenal fans in the chat. Oh, you're a tiny club, blah 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 blah. But in my opinion, we're not. You know, we've got what? Probably best ground in the league, not the biggest.
Yeah.
Look at all the stuff that we've built. The best training facilities. Bloody England stay there.
But until we win something, mate, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it is. I know all that's irrelevant. I know it is. But you look at all the stuff we got, all the stuff that's been created.
It's true.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but like for a club of what I see as our size, there's no way we should be 14th. I'm not saying we should be champions every year. Far from it.
No. But we should be up there somewhere giving it a go, considering the money
we should be up there we should be up there sort of
top 4.
Yeah, well,
and getting a cup.
I would say top 6. Top 6
and getting a cup.
Top 6. A cup now. Well, you're not guaranteed to win one every year, are you? But a cup now and again.
No, but that's what I just said. And a cup here and there, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Until it's even the away fans, yeah, or the away fans from other clubs. The majority I've met, they all say the same thing. It ain't the club that's the problem; it's the owner.
Yeah. Well, put it this way, right?
And I don't want to get into a big Levy debate here, but that's pretty much what they all say. It ain't the club that's the problem.
I just got one quick thing to say on that, right? Last Sunday, when we was all at the protest, one of my mates sent me like WhatsApps. I'm going fishing. I've got my because I like my fishing. I'm going wherever he was going. Book this and that. I said, yeah, mate. I said I'm at the Leave You Out protest, right, and all that. And I sent him a few photos and that. And he said, and he's an Arsenal fan. He's an Arsenal fan, and he said, please keep him. You know what I mean? That sums it up for me. When like rival teams are saying, no, just keep Daniel Levy. You know, we want him to stay and all that. You know, You know, and and I know a few Chelsea fans around here as well. Now, when Pochettino was manager, if we played Chelsea and they beat us, my phone would go mad. Bing, bing, bing. If I went in the pub with them, my phone would be going mad. Bing, bing, bing. All the messages coming through. Spursy, Spuds, this, that, and the other. You don't win anything. Rah, 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 rah. When Chelsea beat us the other week, I never had one message. People feel sorry for me now. I'm sort of like, I'm sort of pitied now for going through this agony of supporting this bloody club.
It's just being honest. That's all it is. It's just being honest. And I know a lot of people just say, "Oh, why would I watch a show just to be negative and whatever else?" I get that. I just try to be honest, not just with football, but just life. Just be realistic. And the realistic side of it is, until we've got a manager that an owner that actually gives a fuck about winning, you don't get nowhere. You got to spend that money. And the other way I look at it is, people didn't like the way Chelsea done it, yeah. And people say they cheated and whatever else and that. But then why didn't we? Why do you cheat? Why does someone cheat? I.e., with the way they bought players and got in the loopholes and stuff like that, which they didn't get done for because it was actually a loophole they could actually do. Why do people cheat? If people call Chelsea cheaters and Man City cheaters and that, yeah, they ain't getting in no beef for it, really. Why do they do it?
Just to win.
Yeah, so if you can't beat them, fucking join them.
Exactly, yeah.
That's how I see it. If I'm doing something and I see someone is cheating and blatantly winning all the time, fuck the morals. I'll go and do what they're doing because I want to win. But this owner, he doesn't want to win. And I feel with the owner, you can't fault him for the size he's made the club. He's made us the richest club in London. He's made us one of the top 8 richest clubs in the world, and we haven't even won anything, for fuck's sake. That's the comical side of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And credit is where credit is due. I don't see many people with that capability, but when it comes to the crunch, you got to win something. And
but Dan, what he's done by putting this manager in is he's properly now he's put the final nail in the coffin of my love for Tottenham Hotspur. I'll always be there. I'll always support them. I'll always renew my season ticket. I'll always go. But what he's done to me with this manager, it feels like he's literally just, I don't know, shoved a rolling pin up my arse. I can't even tell you how much I can't. Honestly, right? He is this manager. It's almost, and I don't use the word gaslighting lightly because it's a very overused word nowadays, right? And everyone says, "Oh, he's gaslighting me," and just overuses it, and everyone gets offended easily. But this manager, literally, right? He evades questions. He goes in on the fans. He went in on the fans about the Man City games. That gave me a clue. From then on, I was like, you know what? I can't stomach this bloke. He blames the pitch. He blames the grass. He's become an expert, the world expert in VAR now, even though he said he didn't worry, he didn't care about it with the Liverpool game. He's suddenly the leading light on VAR and all things VAR. He talks the biggest amount of bollocks. He comes up with excuses about how kids have videoed him on their phone and talks about that rather than football. Gives his philosophy on life. Listen, mate, I don't pay you your wages ultimately through our tickets to sit there and give me your philosophy on life. I don't give a shit what you think about modern society or the world. You're paid to do a job which you're failing at spectacularly, and then you're coming in on all of us as loyal fans. And mate, honestly, he is the worst thing to happen to this club.
I think you see what Kavinsky has just said there, Nightclub, mate.
Yeah.
I think you just hit the nail right on the fucking head, mate. When you want to turn your bar pub into a more profitable upmarket business, you push out the poorer customers. It's true. I mean, I don't want to get into this one, but you even look at what the government do all the time, and that they always pick on the poorer people and always look after the rich people. That's business at the end of the day. I can accept that. But again, there's two sides to it. You've got to get that business working at a club. You've got to do the business side. But then if you want to win something, you've also got to do the other side. And the one thing I will bring in, just before I speak to you, Mike, is I agree with what you're saying, Rich, but I look at it in a slightly different way. I compare Spurs in a way, my feelings for Spurs, that I used to compare my feelings for my daughter. Now, when my daughter went through the age of 13 to about 16, I couldn't fucking stand her, and she knows that. I did not like her attitude. I did not like the way she was. And if anyone on here has had a teenage daughter, they will understand what I'm saying. I didn't like her, but I always loved her, and I always backed her up, and I always helped her out. But I didn't fucking like her because she was a teenager, and teenagers ain't nice, especially female ones. But I still loved her. You might not like the club. I don't like the club. Can't stand it. But I still love it because that's what I'm here talking about. And that's about the only way I can compare it. Mike, how we doing, mate?
We go, guys. A long day. It's half to midnight here. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. today. So not gonna lie, a bit tired today, but yeah, alive and kicking.
So go on then. Obviously, you got something to say with all this, mate. Go for it.
I was just sitting in front of the PC, saw you live. I saw that you welcome guests on, so I thought I would just join and speak with you boys. And yeah, like one thing I really wanted to touch upon, right, was when you boys. I know it's like going back a topic or two, right? You moved on a bit, but I haven't joined when you talked about it, so I really wanted to bring this up. But you were talking about the Frankfurt fans and how they pretty much dominated the atmosphere for large majority of the game, even though we were the home side, right? And to a certain extent, I just feel like it's just different culture of supporting the club in England. I think experiencing it myself when I went to Bournemouth at home, right? And listen, I know the atmosphere around the club isn't the greatest because of the
situation,
the situation, the results of the team, right?
Our shit manager, just say.
Yeah, basically, right? Basically, but still,
shit owner, shit manager, the list goes on.
But still, there were things I noticed that are vastly different, even if people wanted to cheer, right? So one thing, for example, for me, which was really nice, by the way, was the fact that I will use the term "you guys" as in like like English inhabitants, right? The people of English origin, or people that just visit the games regularly, right? And people who are embedded in the culture of your way of supporting, right? You talk a lot more than we do here in Poland, right? You talk between each other about the game, right? Which I really liked, because you know that I like talking about tactics, right? And I had random people just tapping me on the shoulder and pointing to a player of ours and saying, "Oh, look at that guy," like Johnson, for example, because where I was sitting when we were attacking in the first half, Johnson was like right near me, right? I was near the corner flag where he was on the right side. And I saw Johnson up close, right? And there were people tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Look at this, like this and that," right? And, shouting a bit of abuse, right? But, pointing out that he's not inverting, he's doing this and he's doing that, he should be doing this, right? And I could like engage in the talk with the fans around me. Whereas here in Poland, when you come, it's a lot more like if you are not with friends, especially if you go alone, right? Like pretty much nobody talks to you. It's like rarely someone opens their mouth about you to you about the game, right? But we sing a lot more, right? We participate in the like whole stadium activities, right? Because you usually have like ultras, right? Like my local team. I was at one of the bigger games recently against Lech Poznań, right? We won 3-1, by the way. F Poznań, right? But that's just there is beef between my club and Lech Poznań, so I have to say this, right? But yeah, and anyways, right? like we have the ultras, right, sitting on one side of the stadium, and they basically not only do they sing for the whole match, but they also like kind of engage other parts of the stadium in singing. They start shouts, and they, for example, start the first half of the shout, and then the rest of the stadium finishes it. So I feel like it's just a bit of a different, because the reason why I'm talking about this is because Dan, you mentioned the foreign fans, right? Like the Korean fans of Son and other guys, right? I also think it's a bit of the difference in the approach to supporting your team, right? Because like in England, it's usually like "Come on, you Spurs! Come on, you Spurs!" Like one or two other songs, right? But other than that, it's usually more about talking with each other. Whereas I think in Europe, in continental Europe, it's more about singing, right? It's more about being like engaged with the ultras and all that stuff, right? Because I think, and also I know it's a long monologue, right? I promise I will finish in a second, right? But also, I think because you mentioned, Mark, you mentioned the old White Hart Lane, right? Which one thing was, it was a smaller stadium, right? So like the atmosphere was more like cramped, like especially with how close the stands were to the pitch. But I also think because of how much better we were, like the foreign fans couldn't really, buy the ticket for the game, right? Because there's every season ticket holder under Pochettino, they were like making plans around the game to just get into that stadium to witness like the way we played, right? To be part of the team. Whereas I feel like now, and listen, I even see this with like Stelios, for example, right? Stelios keeps saying that he sells his tickets, like, that he visits only a few games a season, even though he's a season ticket holder, right? Which I'm not surprised that he does, because like, the team plays crap. But I think if under Pochettino, like he wouldn't be as willing to give up his ticket, right? Because he would love to, because he would love to see the team. So I also feel like this stadium of ours, I think it really has the potential. I think our fan base is engaged enough to create a brilliant atmosphere like we used to under Pochettino. But there needs to be something to cheer on, right? Because at this point, I don't feel like there is like much to cheer about with this team. Like I went to Bournemouth and we got slapped two by us, right? And the whole stadium was like after the first goal, the whole atmosphere was like, 5 minutes of singing Bournemouth score, and it all goes down, right? Because people don't have anything to believe, right? They don't have anything to cheer for, right? So I think it's like a twofold. I think one part of it is the cultural approach in England, but I think it's also like about having something to cheer about, right? Because if you listen to Emirates from time to time, I know there is also like issues with Emirates atmosphere, right? But when they played against Real Madrid, when they had something to cheer for, the stadium was really loud, right? And they were constantly singing, and the atmosphere was great at that stadium, right? But I think with us, it's not really there. I don't think there is something that people can, cheer about and talk about, and just be engaged with, right?
Can I say, Mike?
Yeah.
Can I say, Michael? Like, I think a lot of it as well with the new stadium is that Levy has priced out a lot of the loyal fans. Like when he took away the concessions from the
like what the fella said earlier, basically kick the poor ones out to keep the rich ones in, sort of thing. I totally agree with what he said. He smashed the nail on the head.
He's priced like what you said about the old White Hart Lane, right? About singing and that. Now I can go back many, many, many years when I stood on the shelf when it was all standing, and that was absolutely bouncing. All right, there was only 3,000 or 4,000 probably in the shelf, but my God, what an atmosphere! And I've been there under Pochettino, like when the Dele Alli song started, better than Ozil and all that. It was deafening. It was literally deafening in that old White Hart Lane stadium.
Yeah.
With half the people, more or less. 55% of the people, because what are the old 36? The old ground?
36 grand, I think.
Yeah,
like
36,000. The new one's 65, 62, something? I don't know.
62 and a half, if I remember.
Yeah. But the old White Hart Lane was deafening, especially if Spurs were playing. But even if Spurs weren't playing well, the crowd got up. I mean, I can remember being at the old White Hart Lane seeing Glenn Hoddle play, and the crowd was crazy loud. But this new stadium is soulless. I've only been a few times, but it's soulless in that it didn't feel. When I used to go to the old White Hart Lane, even though I live 150 miles away from the damn place, it felt like going home, But going to this new ground, I got no feelings for it. No feeling.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way: I was at the protest last week. It's the first time I've been to N17 without going in that ground. And I'll tell you what, it didn't bother me. It did not bother me one iota that I went there. And put it this way, you're talking about Stelios. He come in the pub at halftime. Didn't he, Dan?
Yeah.
He come in the pub with all us lot at halftime. He said I had enough and walked out.
I walked out in 70 minutes and all my season ticket seats are on exchange. And I said to the season ticket holders in front of me, they're a lot more happy clappy than me, I said, right, guys, this is it. You will not see me again in my season ticket seat while this manager's here. Unless there's a protest, you will not be seeing me. And I concur with Mark. I remember as a little boy watching the back end of Ardiles, Glenn Hoddle, Gascoigne, Chrissy Waddle. I mean, and that place was absolutely thumping. What an atmosphere. And lots of different songs sung, not just Come On You Spurs or, the Rangers songs is rubbish now. Like, have we suddenly got lost our imagination or something? I don't know what it is. Even since the Poch era, we don't even sing about individual players apart from the Kulusevski song.
Yeah, as you said, boys, right? It's like even when team wasn't great, Spurs still had players that you were willing to go into that stadium and watch, right? There is a lot of background noise, by the way, like a buzzing sound or something, right?
I haven't got my vibrator on, I promise. I turned it off before I come on.
I can't hear it.
No, I was going to say I can't hear nothing either, so I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's so like at one point in the show, Dan, your mic got a bit louder. Maybe like do you have a standing mic like this one? Maybe disconnected or something, and you are using the laptop mic or something? Because
but the laptop mic I've got is it's a proper mic. It's
in
not
case
just
it's
a
me,
laptop
I've got to go
mic.
anyway. Big up, boys. It's been absolutely great talking to you again. I hope I'll come
Cheers,
on again
Rich.
at some point.
See you later on,
care.
mate. Take care.
See you later. Love you all. See you. Bye.
Cheers.
Yeah, back to what around noise you're saying. I don't know what that is, because
now it's gone. Now it's gone, by the way.
It's definitely not the noise on my mic and that. I've got an 8K laptop, and the mic on it is a professional. So
it's gone now. So I don't know. Like, okay, never mind. It wasn't like anything, stopping me from formulating thoughts or anything, right? But anyways, like coming back to the point, I think, as you boys said, right, even in the early 2000s and 90s when the team wasn't particularly good, let's put it lightly, right, there were still players that you could go into that stadium and hope to see perform like magic on the pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you watch this team now, even if you ignore the manager, right, like what player excites you when you watch that team? No one, pretty much, right? Like Maddison, for me, when we signed him, I felt like he had the potential to be that player that would excite us, right? But he's way too inconsistent, in my opinion, and the manager and the system doesn't help him at all, right? Like for me, Harry Kane was that person. Like when you were watching Harry Kane, like he was performing magic on that pitch, right? And he was one of our own, so it had like even more like added benefit, right? Like Heung-Min Son, when he came, and for the first couple of years, he was brilliant, right? And you could actually go into that stadium and watch him play and actually enjoy what he did on the pitch, right? Christian Eriksen, Dele Alli, like that there were players that could excite you, right? Whereas now it's like it's generally like a problem of football, of like modern football, that there aren't many players that actually excite you. But I think especially in our case further damned by the shit manager that we have, right? I just don't think this team is exciting at all.
I can name 3 players, Michael, that I saw from when I was a kid growing up and all that I was a White Hart Lane and saw. And when they got the ball, you could almost hear the intake of breath because they expected something to happen. Glenn Hoddle, for one, the best player I've ever seen play for Tottenham, by far. Well, it's close with the second one. Second one, Gaza, Mr. Gascoigne. When he got the ball, you never knew what was going to happen. The third one, David Ginola.
Yeah.
David Ginola, all through the years, that is, but when they got given the ball, you could almost hear the gasp from the crowd because they expected.
Yeah.
They expected things to happen.
Yeah.
And 5-6 times out of 10, they did. Hoddle was an absolute magician. Absolute magician.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Is that there is nothing particularly in the way we play at the moment to get positive about, and the players as such. There's no excitement in there. But football these days, I don't really find it exciting anyway, if I'm going to be honest. Football these days, I think, is actually pretty fucking boring compared to it was 20 years ago. It's all too much, how do I put it? It's all too much pep ball for me. Tap, 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 tap. Yeah, it wins you things, whatever, I don't deny that. And at moments, it can look good. But there's no flair in a game anymore. There's no Figo in a game anymore. There's no Ronaldinho in a game, or a Del Piero, or a Roberto Baggio, or many other players I can go for, or a Batistuta, or a Shevchenko, or there's only one or two players out there you can say can get you off your seat, really. And if anything, that's more by a good pass.
Even the defenders
football itself, I think football itself has died down, and where it's become much more of a it's a sport anyway. It's become more athletic.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, I think it's become more athletic as such.
Yeah. Even the defenders, Dan. I mean, I remember when I used to go when I was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12. Graham Roberts steaming into a tackle. All that's gone out of the game now. You touch a player and it's a foul immediately. I'll tell you now, if Graham Roberts was in our team now, he'd be sent off every week.
Yeah, and I also agree.
Do.
One thing that Ange does say, and I totally admit it, it's VAR has killed it in a lot of ways. But that's only in England. VAR don't take this time in Italy, sure. It don't take the time in Spain, and when you're playing in Europe and that, it don't take the time either. Why is it only in England that it does this?
Do they all use that automated thing that we haven't got in yet?
Not yet. I don't.
No, because the automated thing's not come in, has it, in this country yet?
Yeah, I don't think there is a league that uses it. I think the World Cup that they used it at like 2 years ago, or I guess like 3 years ago at this point. I think it was like the first time ever they used it. And no, wait, I think Serie A has it done, doesn't it? Because there was.
That's why I asked.
They sort things out quickly. They don't take 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Because there was this like ridiculous screenshot of a player getting, offside because like his ear was offside, right? There was this like screenshot circulating the net like a few days ago. So I think maybe Serie A has it, or maybe they use it only in like cups or something. But I think there are like 1 or 2 leagues that use it, right? But like this is one thing. Like, why the hell does it take Premier League that long to
6 minutes sometimes? Six
no,
bloody
no,
minutes.
Mark. I'm talking like why does it take Premier League 32 game weeks to implement an automated offside thing? Right, it's the richest fucking league in the world. Like what? Like why does it take so long to implement things? Right? Premier League should be pioneering this sort of stuff. They should be the first ones to do this. Right?
We are the
We'll be
biggest club in the world, to the point that the money that we make in England outdoes every other country put together.
Yeah.
And yet we can't get the resources to do the fucking job properly. That to me just for me, I agree with Ange on that one. I think VAR has definitely killed this game a lot. Anyway, Angus, how we doing, mate? You said you wanted to pop on.
Yeah, not too bad. How are you doing?
Same Spurs, different day. That's the answer you'll always get off of me, mate. That's my saying.
Yeah. Until you get Ange and Levy gone, nothing's going to change. And he's not that
No.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say to that is the same I say to anyone, mate. No shit, Sherlock.
Thanks for stating the obvious, Angus.
But it's not going to happen.
Sorry, mate. That's what I say to everyone. Don't take that personal. I say that to
No,
everybody.
it's fine. Dan, don't worry about it. I'm hard enough and Scottish enough. It's fine. I've dealt with worse.
It's like I said, I was at the protest last week. My mate WhatsApped me, and he's an Arsenal fan. And I said where I was at the protest, and he said, no. He said, I want Levy to stay. So that proves how crap he is when an Arsenal fan's telling me he wants him there for like ever.
Yes, please.
Well, of course they do. But
well, yeah.
Angus, yeah, I'm going to ask you a question, yeah? You're always good on the chat. You always come on here, and I think you're quite a fair person in what you say. Yeah, you big up Arsenal. You've got every reason to in that. But then you do also say when we do good, which ain't very often. And what would you say, honestly now, is Spurs? I think you already said it, but what is it that is the problem at this club? And a lot of other supporters of clubs say it.
There's three problems. Levy, Ange, your fans.
And why for each one of them?
Levy because he's just wanting in it for money. Ange because he's crap. And 3 because your fans are delusional.
Delusioned in what way? Because we get told that both. The point I'm making with it is we get told that both sides of fans are deluded. We are one of the most split up fan bases on the fucking planet, and I'm the first to admit that. Yeah. And some say we're deluded because we're so negative, and some say we're deluded because we're so positive. And then some say some are deluded because they think Levy works. Some are deluded because they think Levy don't work. What Levy has managed to do at this club is probably one of the oldest tricks in the book when it comes to war, is divide and conquer. Same as when it used to work with the Vikings, same as the fucking government do it now. It is the easiest. Once you divide and conquer, that's that. It's easier to fight 5 separate little armies than it is one big massive army. I mean, even when you go back to fucking World War II, the Germans nearly done it. Yeah. But my point is, what's delusional about the fan base? You stated the whole fan base. I wouldn't say the whole fan base.
I didn't say the whole fan base. I said it's like some of your fans are delusional. Like, if some of you think that you're better than you are, but when you're in 14, you're definitely not. My opinion.
I mean, couldn't we turn that round and say that you also do that and are just as bad as us at that? You're probably the second worst fans when it comes to us.
But I wouldn't say we're just as bad as you.
When you sit there, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, but I said you're one of the worst at it as well. That you sit there and lean back and say, "Well, we got bigger fish to fry," and then
that
come
was
out.
Not me. That was AFDB.
No. I'm saying Arsenal fans in general. Yeah, obviously this isn't personal about any of us. Yeah, but Arsenal do have that problem as well.
Yeah, we do. Massively.
We got bigger fish to fry, and you still got nothing to show for it. Yeah. And when fans do that, it does the club no favours, does it? On either side. I'm not just saying with you, on either side. It's like I find with some Spurs fans, we almost feel like we have an entitlement to be up there, yeah? Now, on the entitlement side, with the amount we bloody pay and everything and that, yeah, I expect to be higher up that league, buying better players. Because we're the richest team in London. We've got more power than Arsenal, more power than Chelsea with what we're allowed to spend and what we could spend. We make more money than both clubs. We're one of the richest clubs in the world who could actually go and spend money. And it goes back to the owner. We just don't do it.
When was the last time you actually did spend proper money, though? Like proper money.
Well, we just spent 65 on Solanke. It's not as though we don't spend the money. We don't pay the fucking wages and we don't get the right players.
That's true.
That's down to the owner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the best example of this, right, is I think all of you guys probably saw it, right? Stelios showed it like fucking 50 times, right, on his streams, but the wage to turnover ratio, right? And how Aston Villa are spending like 92% of the turnover on wages, right? I think, and if my mind serves me correctly, like don't quote me on the exact number, but I think it's somewhere around 125 million pounds annually they spent on wages, right? Like 123, 121, 126, something around that, right? And I think we spent something like 36%, I think it was right now, or 34% or something like that. And we spent like 105 million on wages, right, yearly. Which for me, like they spent like percentage-wise 3 times as much of like their turnover on wages, yet they spent only like 15 million pounds more than us, right? So I think none of us like are asking Levy to spend 90% on wages, right? But if he spent 50, he would outspend Villa, right? And Villa have like I think they have something like 9 or 10 players over 100k, and I think they have like 1 or 2 over 200k, whereas we have like 4 over 100k, excluding Timo Werner, which I think this is like the maddest. This is like the maddest. This is the maddest shit for me, right? It's like I always say this, and I don't come with it from like an entitlement point of view, but I always say this about this club, that it's a giant that's asleep, but it doesn't want to wake up, right? It's like we are purposefully not waking up, right? And I think this is something that's killing me the most with this club, because like coming from supporting different clubs in different sports, I see owners of those clubs like taking risks and actually spending more money than they should, right? Risking a bit, trying to like reach that glory, right? My local speedway team this season, we signed two brilliant riders that are upgrades on our like two most fragile positions from the previous season, right? And we, as far as I know, they will go into the negative when it comes to with finances, right? They will spend more this season than they can make. But we are like this close to be challenging for the title, right, here in Poland, in our Polish Speedway League. So they decided to they didn't have to, right? We finished third last season. It's still like getting a medal, right? It's still getting something. But they decided to take the step. They decided to take risk to try to reach for glory, right? Because we haven't won the title for like, I think it's 12 years or even more. Jesus, no, it's like 16 years, I think, right now, right? But they decided to take a step and risk, right? And take a risk. And I think the most frustrating thing for me with Spurs is that we never take risks. It's always done to be safe, to be like to never go over the line. And I'm not even asking to go bankrupt in 5 years, right? I'm asking to just show me something, right? Because I think this club could easily I'm not saying we could be challenging for the league, because it's a long way away, right? But
we could definitely be up there.
Yeah, but we could be fourth, right? And we could be, and I think this this version of Europa League, this version of Europa League that we are seeing right now, if this club was serious, we would be sniffing that trophy every single year, right? Because
the trouble is, Michael,
there are no longer Champions League clubs, right?
The trouble is, Michael, 3rd or 4th place for Tottenham or for Daniel Levy is good enough. You look at the years when we finished 2nd and 3rd behind like Chelsea and Leicester when they won them 2 leagues. We had by far the best team in the league at that time. Both of those years.
We had the better 11.
But that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Our first 11 was the best in the league. The Belgian barrier. The Belgian barrier at the back and all that went on.
Walker.
Yeah, Rose, Walker, Ericsson, Dembele, Kane, Son, whoever. You know what I'm saying? But we never had the best squad. As soon as we got tweaks, we had the likes of Eric Dyer coming in. What's his name?
The drop off basically to the next.
It was a massive drop off. It was a massive drop. If when Poch was it, if Levy had just stuck the prices, the transfers weren't mad like they are now. If he'd have just give Poch £80 million, you could have got 3 top players back then, because 20-30 million pound would have got you a half sensible player, and he could have fitted in, rotated them when they were tired, and we'd have won both of those leagues. I'm convinced of it, but he didn't do it because he's 4th was good enough. Get the Champions League money rolling in. Happy days.
He don't need it so much now, though. Right, just to answer a question for Vindaloo. It's a fair question. Okay, let me ask you a question. Who owns this club? The owner or the fan base? It's the owners. Same as what own your club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got a voice.
Owners. Yeah. It's just the problem is our owners are now too powerful. Because at Arsenal, how do I put this? Where Arsenal is tenfold smaller than Spurs are outside of football, you can't make that money. We can. We are probably.
I think they are making a lot of money too, Dan. I don't think that's that big.
Not compared to us. Not compared to us.
As well, though, because that makes a lot of money as well. We have other stuff.
Oh, I'm not saying you don't make money, but compared to Spurs, out of football, you don't make a tuppence to what we make.
Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, and that is where our owner has now got the money coming in, where the Champions League money would obviously like it, but it's not make or break anymore. Yeah,
no.
We was at a stage where we needed that money. We don't actually need Champions League money. If anything, Spurs are one of the only teams on this planet that can support themselves if they finish 15th every fucking season. Arsenal couldn't do that. Chelsea couldn't do that. Let me finish. Chelsea couldn't do that for sure. Without selling their young fellas, Chelsea would be up shit street in the biggest way. They found a way round it, and they do it. Man City, they sell their players. They've got significant money. We get enough money, more than any other club in England, and possibly up there with the top boys in the world, outside the football.
Is it tomorrow the boxing's on?
The main money is inside the football. I get that, yeah? But we make a shitload of it more than Arsenal, more than Chelsea, more than West Ham, more than Man United because their fucking stadium's falling apart, more than Liverpool because their stadium's falling apart, more than Newcastle because they just can't afford it up that area. And it's the amount of money we now make outside that sort of covers for that bit of Champions League money.
Isn't the boxing on? Isn't the boxing on tomorrow?
This is what I'm saying. Arsenal don't get that. Arsenal don't get major concerts there. Arsenal don't get major boxing events there like Anthony Joshua. Not that I ever rated him as a boxer, by the way, but it was.
Well, no, it's Eubank next week, isn't it? Is it this week?
Yeah. Mark, the point I'm making is where we make that much money out of football now, not more than in football, but out of football. The Champions League ain't be or end all to Levy. If we got into it, yes, it's another bonus. But that is one of the things I find so frustrating. We are one of the only clubs that can actually look after ourselves without selling a single fucking player.
We'll put it this way, Dan. Every time I put the TV on and I just happen to stumble across the rugby, 9 times out of 10 it's at Tottenham Stadium.
Right. Other thing is, look at the NFL. Look at the NFL deal we've got. Yeah, that's for the next 10 years. Nobody can change that. It's a contract. They can't change it. Yeah. Look at the Formula One shit we got underneath our thing now. Look at everything Spurs have got outside of football. That now covers the Champions League money. And then to answer you again, Vindaloo, the owner can't cooperate without the fan base. I totally agree. But even when your fan base was fighting with each other toe to toe and then done the right thing of steaming up together, you didn't own that fucking club. They just played you and gave you a bit of what you wanted. And they've still got you nowhere fast. Because now you've got a lot of Arsenal fans getting really agitated that they've spent fucking 800 million and got fuck all to show for it. It's the owners that own the club. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. You will still, no matter what, it's not like selling fucking films. It's not like selling games. It's not like selling other things in the world where you can actually just sit there and say, well, I ain't buying it. Because the problem is at Spurs, and you can say the problem is at Arsenal, the problem is at Chelsea, the problem is at West Ham, the problem is that every club, I'll vouch for England, not necessarily the world, is that if half their season ticket holders just said, you know what, fuck it, have the season tickets, those season tickets would be gone tomorrow. That is the problem. And it's the owners who own it, like it or lump it. And Arsenal are no different. I guarantee, if you had 10,000 season ticket holders say, bollocks, I ain't paying that, those 10,000 will get taken tomorrow. And that is the problem with football on why it's the owners that own it. The owners just done a much better way of tickling Arsenal than they do with Spurs. They actually gave you players that mattered. They actually gave you a bit of hope. But that's all it has been, hope. They haven't actually crossed that line for you. Whether it's that Arteta just can't do it or whatever else. They've give you players, but really, it's the owners that do it. You can't beat the owners when they are multi-billionaires. You ain't winning. And when and when it's all good doing the protest outside, this and that and everything else, and when it's all good that a load of people start singing Levy out or whatever, or do what you did and start punching each other up outside the place before you stuck together and went against it, you still ain't going to get nowhere fast because there's so many other fans out there that will say thank you and just have that season ticket. You can't win when it comes to that. It has got to that stage now where you can't just... There's probably only 1 or 2 clubs, I think, in this country that would actually sit down and say, right, we ain't buying the season tickets, and the other lot wouldn't buy the season tickets either. And Newcastle is one of them.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
they are probably the most passionate fans in the country in their own way as such. Yeah, Arsenal wouldn't do that. You wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to get your owners out of the fucking club. They're too powerful for you. And you've got too many who would buy a season ticket. Like, I mean, do you know what the waiting list is on your season tickets?
Not got a clue. I think it's over 10,000.
No, it's much more. It's much more.
It's more than that,
similar
mate.
to ours.
I don't know the exact number. Yeah, it's similar to ours, and ours is, what is it, about 30 to 40,000, isn't it?
Yeah. It was more, by the way. Like a year or 2 ago, I've heard something like 80K or something like that, right? So
Well,
another stadium, right?
Yeah.
Even if 10, 20,000 of your supporters said, right, I've had enough of these owners. They're top pricks, can't stand them. They're not good for the club. They're not good. They're not this. They're not that. The other 10, 20,000 just step in and say, thank you, come again.
I know a few people that got season tickets at Tottenham, and obviously you've got a number on the list and you slowly move up and move up and move up. And they were offered season tickets and they were like 25,000 on the list, because a lot of people are like near the top of this list and they won't accept them. They get offered one, they get offered a season ticket. You don't have to accept it. You haven't, there's no written law that you must accept it. Or when they didn't, and I know people that was like 20,000 in the list, and they got season tickets.
Another point here off Vindaloo, yeah. Again, I think you make some good points, mate, and I like having you on my show because you're a fair fella, yeah. Same as Angus. That's why I've got no problem having you on it. Ambition comes from the fans. No, I'll agree with it to an extent, but ambition comes from a club. Ambition comes from an owner. Even if the fans have got no ambition on this planet and don't give a shit, if the owners want to win something and they have that ambition, the owners will go and do it, even if the 20, 30,000 fans don't give a shit. Yeah. The main place where it counts for me is the owners. Yes, you can't say Spurs fans ain't ambitious. We want to do things. This is why we keep fighting. You can't say Arsenal fans ain't ambitious. You are screaming to win that title because you've been bullied out of it for about 3 seasons. And then the one chance that you've got to step in because Man City have been shit, Arsenal have come and made you look like schoolboys. And that has got to be one of the most frustrating things as an Arsenal fan ever. The one season City ain't doing it, you ain't doing it, and Liverpool fucking snatched it off you.
Yeah, massively.
Is that...
This is not good time.
Yeah, and that's not me slating Arsenal fans. That's just fans in general.
Yeah.
So we can have all the ambition we want, but if the owners ain't got the ambition, it's irrelevant. And our owner ain't got no ambition. Your owner has more ambition than ours, but I still don't think he's that bothered about taking you over that line.
He just wants top 4 money. He just wants the money. That's all he's in for. He doesn't care about the trophy. That's all.
I think he cares more about trophies than the Spurs manager.
Yeah,
the Spurs.
I agree with that.
But it's not his be all end all, and that is what has pissed a lot of Arsenal fans off in the end. Because you're doing exactly what we did 5-6 years ago. You're so near, yet you're so far. You just need that little bit to cross that line, and you can't do it come love nor money. Whether it's the fact that Arteta just has not got the bollocks to take it that step further, like Poch, on the day he folds it, which Arteta does a lot, same as Poch did. And then you go and get certain players in there who they're good, but they're not quite. I mean, would you say you've bought the right striker? You haven't bought a striker. I mean, Havertz, is he a good buy? Is he a good striker? Exactly, yeah. You needed a striker more than anything, yeah? And you still ain't bloody bought one.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. That's doing exactly what Spurs do, except at the moment, you're just looking better while you're doing it. And it was the opposite way round 5 years ago. We just needed that 1 or 2 extra players, and we could have crossed that line, but we didn't. We are now in your position in complete dog shit. No, you didn't finish 14th, but you finished in a place that Arsenal.
8th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Twice.
you finished in a place you finished in a place that Arsenal should not be. Yeah?
Yeah.
And we are now in that position. You're now in the position that we were in, where you're so close, yet you're so far. And City will come in next season, they will get rid of their shit, and they will have new players on there, and you still won't be able to touch them. And that's the fact of being so near, yet so far. We've just gone and done a total toss over, basically. You was in basically exactly the same position we were 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, Arsenal TV was the comical show of all comical shows. And it's now spun round that the Spurs shows are the comical shows for you lot.
Yeah.
It's just, we've done a total U-turn. That's what it is, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me. But I don't think I am.
No. Right. Definitely not. When Poch was here, we were that close.
By the way, I think for both us and Arsenal, right? I think the most frustrating thing is that it almost like for you boys after like the prime Wenger years, and for us after Poch now, right? I think the most frustrating thing is that the downfall, going like the spiraling down. I think it's almost like self-made. I don't think it's like it's because of like some external issues or like, it's not like the club was nearing a bankruptcy, so they had to start, not spending, and the team quality went down, and the biggest stars left, and it almost felt like both us and you, there was always like this potential to just to rise up again and be like. And you rose, right? You rose after Wenger. Right now you are rising, and as much as you haven't won, I think all Arsenal fans can be, to a certain extent, proud of what is going on with their team, right? Again, like there is like a bit lacking in terms of like actually winning something, and I think if Arteta took like domestic cups maybe a bit more seriously, then I think you guys would have already won something, right? Because like
I agree.
It's not like you are not winning FA Cups and Carabao Cups regularly, right? Throughout all your history,
not compared to what you used to do.
Yeah, no, but over like the whole existence of Arsenal, they've always been winning domestic cups, right? Or especially the FA Cup. So yeah, I think if you took it seriously, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't win an FA Cup, right?
Yeah.
So, but again, you can be proud, same way as I think we could be proud. We were proud of that Pochettino team, even though we didn't win, right? And I know Arteta technically won the FA Cup, right? But you get the point generally, right? But I think for us as Spurs fans right now, the most frustrating thing is that, again, like the downfall of the team from Pochettino, it has nothing to do with like external reasons that the club didn't have any impact over. They could always stop it if they wanted to, right? They could always hire better managers, hire better scouts, hire better players, spend more on wages, and nothing substantial would happen to the club in terms of like going bankrupt or risking too much, right? And same thing with Arsenal. After Wenger, yes, you built the stadium and you had to pay it off. It was obvious that the quality will go down a bit, but from winning titles and doing invincibles and doubles and reaching Champions League final, you guys went into like FA Cup every 2 or 3 years, which is still much better than what we are doing. But it wasn't like the early 2000s Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
And it also looked as if it was self-made, right? That it was owners.
Wenger made it normal and happy to to get in the top 4, didn't he? Wenger actually made it quite. Yes, I'm happy with top 4.
So for me, this is why I'm frustrated with this bloody club, right? Because I can see the potential, and I seriously, like, again, I'm not expecting us to spend 300 million per summer and sign 3 world-class £100 million players, right? But I think I can expect more than Solanke and 4 kids, right? I don't think that's ridiculous to say, considering like where this club is financially, right?
I agree.
I think I can expect us to sign a better manager than bloody Ange Postecoglou, right? Who is frankly speaking, he's no one in the managerial world, right? I think, honestly, if Ange gets sacked and we want to do the and we want to do the propping up a no-name manager, I'm giving you a Jagiellonia from I'm giving you a manager of Jagiellonia from our Polish league, right? He was under 21s coach, took over a team that never won something, won the title with them, now is challenging and is in the quarterfinals of the Conference League, right? Does it sound familiar? Because for me it fucking does, right? Like, what's the difference between him and Ange, right? Like, Scottish league is 3 places above Polish league, I think, or it might even be lower than the Polish league, right?
It's lower than the American league, for God's sake.
So like, what's the difference between Ange and Jimenez, right? His surname is Jimenez. I know it's a tongue twister for everyone,
I get what
right?
you mean,
but you get the point, right? I think I can expect more than Ange Postecoglou, right? As a Spurs fan, I'm not saying bring me Ancelotti or Simeone, right? But fuck's sake, like,
you could be better. And Vindaloo, I'm not usually one to tell someone they're wrong or right, because I go by a lot of opinion, and if your opinion is different to mine, we can debate it, and I will do everything I can to not necessarily understand your opinion, but at least get it. And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't even try to get the other person's point of view. But I'm going to tell you you're wrong, because you've just made a statement, not an opinion. The fan base has more power than the owners. It should, but it don't. Not in this day and age.
No.
Go back 30, 40 years. Yes, it did.
It used
Not
to.
anymore, mate.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not when your
especially
club
not in
is
England. England, right?
Yeah. Whereas in other countries, like Italy, it would be because their smaller amount of fan base, their clan, they just wouldn't let them walk into the fucking stadium. Otherwise, they'd kidnap their wife.
Spain as well, Lakers as well.
Yeah. Whereas over England, we've actually come quite placid supporters when we're still looked on in Europe as some of the nastiest ones out there. And we are far fucking from it, mate. You know, we ain't the skinheads that go around and smash everyone up anymore like the 80s, yeah? You go and take, say, the rawest clan, if that's what you call it in England. Tell me what one it is. I don't know. Or what? If someone going to tell it's probably Millwall, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think Millwall is the closest thing to.
Yeah. Now go and compare them to Napoli. Now go and compare them to Lazio. Now go and compare them to fucking Fenerbahce, to even to Boca Juniors.
Legia Warsaw.
Yeah. Now you go and do that. Napoli turned up on their main man's door and threatened to kidnap his fucking wife if he did not get his act together. Yeah.
Listen, we are of course not condoning, like, you know, family, friends, and all that stuff, right? But that's the difference, basically, right?
But at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, unless you're a threat of some sort, and I don't just mean physical, unless you become a problem, unless you become a threat, you ain't getting noticed. Walking down the road, happy clapping, we want this, we want that. You ain't a problem. You ain't a problem until you start causing problems, until you start causing threats. And threats don't have to be physical. Threats can be money-wise, whatever. Then you get noticed. Or you definitely get noticed when you turn up on someone's door and say, I'm going to kidnap your wife if you don't score today. I'm not justifying it, but do you know what? He went out and scored a fucking hat-trick. I can't remember the name of him. They got rid of him the season later. But the fan base these days does not have more power than the owners, because the owners these days of a lot of clubs are multi-billionaires, yeah? They don't need the fans anymore. Not like they used to. Because, again, there's so many other fans out there that will just come in and take your season ticket. Mm-hmm. Or at Spurs even, one thing I don't think Arsenal has got, we've got more people, tourists, that would come to a Spurs game than I think Arsenal or Chelsea have got. And that's not saying they're small or whatever, but you would get no... how amount of fans do you get in to see a Pacific player play?
Depends what player it is.
That's why I just asked. Give me a name.
English-wise, Saka is probably the biggest one. I don't know how many only see him play, but
and one thing I will tell you is Saka is a minute little nothing compared to Son. Yeah, and that's no insult to the player. I'm saying to what he brings into the club. Yeah, Son brings in millions of pounds to this club because of his revenue, because he is the most relevant thing in South Korea.
But he's a god. He's a god in Korea.
Yeah, I looked at that stadium at that protest the other day, and at some points I saw more South Korea fans than Spurs fans, and that's no disrespect to them, but they're there to literally, like Mark said, watch their god. You ain't got a god. Chelsea ain't got a god. Man, you ain't got a god. We can generate so many fans there just because of one bloody player, and he don't even have to fucking win.
Well, put it this way, dear. Put it this way, Dan. I've been told, I've never been in there, new megastore, the club shop, whatever you want to call it.
I've been there shamelessly.
Off you go.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah. Well, I've been told, you go in there, in all three kits that we got this year, there's rows upon row upon row of Sun shirts. Thousands of the damn things in there. In all three kits, home, away, third. All the rest of the players poked in the corner somewhere, you know. All right, there's some Kulu ones, and there's some Vicario goalkeeper ones, and there's whoever. But Son, the vast majority, because they know they're going to sell the damn things at £100 a go, whatever they are these days.
You know, Mark, one thing I've got to add also, right? And I think that's an interesting thing, by the way, right? Is I also think the difference between like clubs having a star player that brings in revenue and us like having Son, right? Is I think South Koreans compared to like average, let's say, European country, I think they are much richer, like on average than European people, right? Because like the idea that popped into my mind is, what if Lewandowski played for Spurs, right? And we, as like, trust me, Lewandowski here in Poland is equivalent of what Son is for Koreans, right? Like he's the best player we ever had and probably ever will have, right? Or at least like next 100 years, probably no one will eclipse what Lewandowski did for football in this country and who he is and what he achieved.
Football in the world, full stop.
Yeah,
He's an
and
excellent
in the world,
striker.
right? But we as Spurs would never like be in such a number in the stadium, right? Because plenty of people couldn't afford to go to the stadium, right? And couldn't afford to go to a match, or it would have been a much bigger thing to go, right? It would seriously be a big chunk of your yearly budget to go, right? And especially go in the vein of like what Koreans do, right? Which is, you know, and especially because they fly a lot further than we would have to, right? But they fly like half the world, which is like probably like £2,500 just like plane tickets only, right? And they go into the stadium, spend the money in the bars, spend the money in the restaurants, right? They buy shirts and all that stuff, right? And if you like calculate all of it together, like an average Polish guy who supports Lewandowski could never afford it, right? So I also think there is like such a big Korean presence in the stadium because they can also afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get my drift, right? Which for the club is a good thing, by the way. For the atmosphere, maybe not, right? You could debate that, but for the club as like a revenue generating thing is a good thing, right? But it's like again, like Arsenal. I think like Saka is your star. Everyone loves Saka, right? Every single Arsenal fan loves Saka. American,
he's a good player.
Yeah, but American Arsenal fans love Saka. Australian Arsenal fans love Saka, right? Like, you know, Polish Arsenal fans love Saka, right? But I don't think he's such a big magnet, right? I don't think he has such a big pull, and especially because like he's English also. That's one thing, because like English club, England, English players, so you know English people still go to the stadium, right? But let's imagine even if Saka was like American, right? Maybe American is one thing where you could actually replicate the same like level of support, right? But so like different country, let's say he would be like Hungarian, or I don't know, like Italian, or I don't know, like Austrian or something, or Australian, Russian, I don't know, like something like that, right? The following wouldn't be as big as with Son and South Korean fans, right?
Let me just add one last point on Sonny. Why do you think we signed like Heung-Min?
Exactly. I mean,
he's a successor.
The only two players.
He is the successor.
The only two players that was on this planet that attracted more non-supporters as such was Ronaldo and Messi. And have you noticed since
maybe
Messi
Beckham?
No.
Don't you think
so? No chance. Never. Yeah. Now, maybe this is just an opinion of mine, but since Messi and Ronaldo have left Spain, not so many foreigners go to Real Madrid or go to Barcelona. Now, you still get plenty.
Yeah.
But you don't get the same amount who just literally went to Barcelona to watch Messi.
Yeah.
Or literally went to Real Madrid to watch Ronaldo. Now, I'm not saying they've gone totally downhill, but that was a big income for each club.
Yeah.
Exactly the same as Son is for us. The only two that was in front of Son or are in front of Son, not so much anymore because of where they are and that, was Messi and Ronaldo. Apart from that, Son was probably the biggest player in the world in the aspect of the revenue he could pull into your club from another country.
Yeah, Dan, I because you asked about other Premier League clubs having like an icon like we do with Son, like for the country, right? I actually came with a good example: Salah for Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
Salah in Egypt.
Yes, I'll go with that. Yeah, fair
He's
play.
the biggest thing Egypt ever had, right, in terms of the footballer.
Yeah.
But again, to my point, if you compare like the spending power of an average Egyptian to a spending power of an average Korean, right, it's vastly different. You watch Liverpool stands, right, and you don't see like 500 Egyptians sitting in like one part of the stadium, right, and with their cameras like that, watching every single Salah move, right? Because I don't think as many of them can afford it the way Korean fans can with Son, right? I think this is like I think this is the best idea, right? Because it's a nation that doesn't produce footballers like on demand, right? Because like if there was a star Spanish player, like the Spaniards wouldn't go like travel as much to see him play because they have like 50 star Spanish players, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and when it came, I totally agree with you on the Salah point. Yeah, but there was not any players that could attract the money that Messi and Ronaldo could attract. I mean, here's your prime example: Juventus was struggling. Italian clubs have been struggling for a while, but they went out and still spent significant money and more on the wages on Ronaldo. When they brought Ronaldo into Juventus, they literally tripled their money in one fucking day of what they paid for him.
Shirt sales.
Yeah, everything. Whether you're selling pencils, whether you're selling fucking shirts, they tripled the money they paid for him in one fucking day. And that's the sort of thing that Son can do. Not quite to that extent, but he's the one just behind them two with the revenue he brings into a club, basically. And that is one of the big problems at Spurs, because so many fans are tourists. It is what it is when it comes down to that one. And what you're going to do when your fans all stick together, but then another 10,000 to just come and buy the bloody tickets?
Mm-hmm.
How do you beat this?
You don't.
It's impossible.
There is a way, but I won't describe it on here, and it's not meant to be done. So, there's always a way, but you can't go talking like that, and you can't basically justify that sort of
All
thing.
right.
Yeah?
I retract that statement. You don't legally.
There you go. Exactly that. And it is exactly that. Right, I'm going to wrap up because I'm getting knackered now, and talking Spurs all the time does get a bit depressing at times. So thanks for everyone that came on. Much appreciated. Good to see you.
There is a super chat, Dan.
Sorry, did I miss it?
No.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry, I missed it. Yeah, sorry. Vindaloo, thanks a lot, mate. It's much appreciated. Dan, for your channel, great debate, mate, bro. Night, mate. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Cheers for spotting that out. I didn't see that. I miss it in the corner sometimes. So it's appreciated, mate. Sorry that I just missed that a minute ago. I'm knackered. But thanks a lot. But, mate, as all I try and do is get the other person's point. And some people do, some people don't. So thanks, people, for watching. I will start doing shows more regular now. I've got a place to do it. Got other things sorted out now, medical issues and that. So should be back on my feet quite nicely. So are we going to see you anywhere soon?
What, me?
Well, you're on here, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, we're busy recording stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know when we're going live next. It's that demoralising when we go live that I don't really want to do it. But no, we should be about in the next week or so.
Yep, and same. And Mike, I'm sure we see you pop up on something.
Yeah.
And Angus, like I've said, anyone else want to make a point? You're always welcome on here. I will always try and get your point.
One last question.
Go on, mate.
Do you think we beat Madrid?
What's that?
Do you think we beat Madrid in Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're capable, but just don't walk in there with a big bollock swinging everywhere.
Yeah.
Think you can swing your big dick everywhere against a team like Real Madrid. Because Real Madrid can go and do to you exactly what Liverpool done to Barcelona. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I personally think you've done enough. Because Madrid ain't the team they were. But they're one of those teams that when it comes down to it, write them off at your peril. When you go to that Madrid game, things will be different at that stadium. But the performance you put in with them, in the first 20 minutes, they should have been 3-0 up on you. They didn't take their chances. You took your chances and you played well. No ifs or buts about it. I will not sit here and say a certain team has played shit just because I don't like them. I think you will just about squeeze it with them. I think they'll do you 3-1, something like that, at their ground. And that means that extra goal for you gets you through.
I think we'll score and then park the bus. I think we'll score and then we'll park the bus.
Yeah. I think you'll lose 3-1, but because you scored 3 at home, that goal gets you through.
Yeah.
But then we go to the next round. And anything's possible. Do I think you've got what it takes to win the Champions League? You've never done it before, but who knows? You have just gone and beat Madrid 3-0. But we all know they're capable of coming back and beating anyone 5-0. That is the thing you need to watch. Just don't go in there and be complacent, I think is the word I'm looking for. Swinging your dick, we just done you 3-0, you pricks, you ain't doing this again, and then next thing you're walking away like you've just been done by John Wayne. You don't want that to happen. Yeah?
No.
And
we do. We do.
And if anyone's got the power to do that, if anyone's got the power to do that, Real Madrid do have the power to do that.
Yeah.
But I personally think you've done enough to do it.
Yeah, so do I, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have asked for a better result.
If it was 2-0, I think you would be in a bit of a danger, right? But listen, I think Stefan said it on one of the group chats. Last time you conceded 3 goals was like 1.5 years ago or something like that, right? And as much as I,
you've got an excellent defense.
Yeah, as much as I think Real Madrid has one of the best attacks in the world, it's like I don't see them scoring 3 and not 4 to win the tie, like 4-0, right?
No,
I think it was end something like 2-1 or 2-0 to Madrid at best, right? That's the best case scenario for them. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was like 0-0 or 1-1 or something like that, right? I think it will be a bore fest.
The only way I think Madrid
right?
win that game is if they do you 3-0 and it goes to extra time. Then that's where I feel Arsenal bottle it, because you do bottle it on a big situation. I mean, at home, you've done excellent. Eh?
I will have a heart attack if that happens.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because we all know that of late, when it comes to the crunch, Arsenal bottle it. They always do for the past 5 years. I'm not even comparing it to Spurs. I'm just saying what you do. Like when you had that league, in the palm of your hand. That was the biggest fuck up since Newcastle, if not worse. The only one that can be any worse than that is if Liverpool go and screw this one up. You know, when it comes to that crunch, you just can't get past that line at the moment. Exactly what we was 5 years ago. And I know, Alex, you said on there you're pissed off with talking about Poch and that. But if you don't compare to history, then what do you say you want for the future? Do you want better? You know? So for me, you have to look at history. Right, what did he do? What did he do? What did he do? He done it significantly better. This one's done it worse. So we need one more like him. You've got to talk about history, even though it does get fucking boring. I agree with you on that bit, mate. Anyway, everyone, thanks for coming on. Give us a quick like, it'd be appreciated. And
Have a good day. See you later on.
I'm gonna turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.